going to the Scalia funeral is that he understands when the president travels, it's a huge undertaking.
Exactly.
I mean, there's immense security involved with the advanced men, with Secret Service. He doesn't just say, "Hey, I'm going to the funeral."
Yeah,
let's go. He didn't want to go to the Scalia funeral because he knew it would be disruptive to Washington D.C., to the family. He didn't want to be in the way, and that's why he chose not to go to the funeral. But the right will take anything the president does. If the president were to go to Nancy Reagan's funeral, they would criticize him for going to Nancy. Why is he distracted? No matter what he does, he's going to get criticized. So, but the protocol is a first lady attends a previous first lady's funeral.
Okay. And besides those,
the first lady can also attend her own funeral.
I'm not doing this with you. I'm not. Okay, that was the first corny joke of the night, you guys. He's got like 50 more.
Let me just say who we. Okay, we have viewers from Moplesville, from Stonington, from Somerville, from down something. Okay, I'm sorry for wrong spelling, of course.
It's okay.
But it's small cities apparently. I don't know, maybe it's not. But so people on the website watching right now.
Hi, people on the website. Thank you for joining us at DINtv. If you have a question, send us a text. I mean, you can come on our DIN feed, send us a message, or you can throw us rotten tomatoes. Also, look at the bottom.
You can call
at 786. We actually have a landline. 786-802-3407. 786-802-3407, and it's courted. Oh, here's a breaking news on CNN that Ben Carson is going to endorse Trump. Well, Trump actually liked Ben Carson. He thought he was a nice man. From all accounts, supposedly Ben Carson is a nice man. I'm sure he is. He's incredibly brilliant when it comes to pediatric brain surgery.
So let's listen.
I appreciate it. I want to start with the breaking news. Dr. Carson coming out endorsing Donald Trump, announcing it formally tomorrow morning. Donald Trump yet again going to own a news cycle no matter what happens at tonight's debate.
Because Trump is owning every news cycle.
Reporting. I don't know what the details are of that, but look, Dr. Carson's done a great job in expanding our party. He's an important voice in our party. He's a good man, but I don't know the details of it. But certainly there are a lot of endorsements going on around the country right now, and if it's true, then that's a big get.
It certainly is a big get. Something Ted Cruz would have wanted.
Well, Mike Lee today endorsed Ted Cruz. So, I mean, there's obviously a lot of this going on right now.
All right. If Donald Trump wins Florida and Ohio, you got to admit it's going to become incredibly difficult for someone else to win the nomination, isn't it?
Well, I'm not in the position to really start, talking about where everyone's delegate math is going. But obviously, whoever gets the majority of delegates, we're going to be behind that nominee 100%. But you do have to get to 1237. So it'll be some time before someone gets to the 1237.
Okay, so what you just said there, I want to make sure I really understand.
Sure.
You said the majority, and then you said 1237.
Right.
But somebody could have the majority of delegates and not have 1237, which of course is the formal number. So are you saying if someone has the majority but not 1237, you'll still support them? They would be the party nominee?
Well, you have to have the majority of delegates either as a presumptive nominee, which is 1237. If you don't have the 1237, you can't be presumptive nominee. I mean, there are certain things we can do by law that were regulated by the Federal Election Commission. I mean, this is not like people talk about this stuff as if it's just some sort of loose fabric, and if I feel like supporting someone, then that's what will happen. There's actually laws that regulate our involvement. So if we have a presumptive nominee of our party, we can join in with that presumptive nominee. We can spend certain money.
What'd you say?
At the
it's going to be interesting. They want him out real bad. Here's what's going to be interesting, because all these establishment Republicans, Lindsey Graham, Mitt Romney, they're all coming out against Trump, saying that he's a liar, he's not good for our country. Now, if Trump wins the nomination in July, actually, he may secure. All he needs is like another 80% of the delegates to win. If Trump becomes the nominee, what are they going to say in November? They're all saying Reince Probiscus, whatever his name is. He's the head of the RNC. He's saying, no, we're all going to stand behind the nominee, no matter who that is. So if Trump is the nominee,
oh my God, it looks so contradictory.
There's a thing called videotape, people. So all the Democrats have to do is run commercials in November with Mitt Romney and Lindsey Graham, all these established Republicans saying how much they hate Trump and that he's a liar and
This is so
he's
bad.
not fit to be president. So how are they going to
But I
run
mean,
away from that?
They need to stop making the statements like now because it's looking like he's about to take this. So they need
Well, it
to
looks
just
probable that he's going to become the nominee, and their worst fear is that he'll run as an independent, which he
Right.
threatens, because if he runs as an independent, he's going to attract a lot of votes from the Republican side, also from the Democratic side, and he will be getting a lot of the independent voters.
okay.
So
So
I'm
if
just-
he runs independent, okay, never mind. That was a dumb question.
What? There's no such thing as a dumb question. I'm not an expert. What's your question?
I'm saying if he runs as independent, then could it still be like a candidate from the Republican side?
Yes.
Like, okay,
They
so
could have their own candidate, which probably be whoever secures the 1287 delegates, which it could be CRUZ,
okay.
and then it'd be Trump and CRUZ, and then whoever wins on the Democratic side.
Yeah,
And there could be another independent going in also. Who knows?
I just want to see who would run independent besides.
Well, Bloomberg already said he's not.
Yeah,
It's kind of
it's
late.
not.
It's kind of late to the ball game to throw
At
your
this
hat in.
point,
At this point, yeah. Now, what I'm interested about tonight's debate, I wonder if they're going to be discussing.
Rick Scott for you.
what'd you say?
Oh, you got some Rick Scott. Thank you, Wes. Video.
Well, Wes just posted something, guys, on Periscope from your cat. I need you to come directly to DINtv.com so you can watch this.
You can see the videos, and you can post a video too or a meme. You can send it right to us and post it and
We'll play it.
interact. We'll play it.
Hello. And
Here's,
if you are on our
Here's
site, you have
Rick
to
Scott
press
with
this.
Joe Scarborough, who I watch a lot. I like
Oh,
Joe
you have to
Scarborough.
press
Wait a minute.
it. Oh, watch this. I'm Kurdish and beautiful. Okay.
This is from this morning.
Oh,
It's live.
I do not like him at all.
Yeah.
Because I hate it such a strong word.
I call him Baltimore. He who shall not be named.
Bring the finger out of your mouth.
Good deflection. Answer the question. Go, Joe. Go, Joe. Is that Mika? Yeah, it's Mika. Because it's live. Oh, God, I can't stand that guy. So slimy. Thank you for posting that, Wes.
Yes, thank you so much.
So you avoided that question altogether. You couldn't just come out and say, oh no, Muslims don't hate us. You couldn't come out and say that. You know what, tonight I'm going to be curious as we talk about climate change. Because if you're not from Florida, I know there are a lot of climate change deniers. In Florida, particularly in Miami, we're experiencing the direct results of climate change. It's not something in the far gone future that's going to be coming decades. It's happening right now in South Florida. Everyone's heard of South Beach. There's an area of South Beach way on the southern eastern tip of the island, because South Beach actually is an island. Miami Beach is its own little
Yes,
island.
I see the post, Kevin.
Okay, I posted a whole bunch. You don't have to post them all at once, but just so you have something to talk about.
The city in South Beach is spending millions of dollars to elevate sidewalks in certain areas of South Beach because they're experiencing flooding. Whenever we have a tide, a full moon, these areas are along Alton Road, if you know where that is,
I know
the
it
west
is.
end part, it's flooding. And there are news, cars can't go there. It's flooding because of the rise in sea levels. We're experiencing it right now. So it's interesting that Rubio and Jeb Bush, when Bush was running, they were asked these questions specifically about addressing climate change, and they both admitted that yes, we are experiencing climate change, but they had doubts as to whether it was man-made. But at least they acknowledge that yes, climate change is real, and we're seeing the effects of it right here in Miami, right now, not decades from now, right now.
So that means they're still on the radar for you to vote for, because you said as long as they acknowledge that climate change is real, that you are not.
Okay, they acknowledge that climate change is real, but that it's man-made. That's what the controversy is. Because now people on the right are coming around, because there have been over 600 studies by different universities worldwide, all coming to the same conclusion that yes, climate change is real and climate change is man-made.
That's what's going to make you vote for them, just the fact that...
No, there are several issues, but that's one of my issues.
So then my question is...
Yes.
What... Because I know the fact that they recognize it and say that it's man-made is not going to make you vote for them. The real question is what is your solution that you would like to see them propose?
Well, we can have caps, trade-off caps on carbon emissions. Also, the Paris Treaty that has to be approved by Congress, I believe, that the president's proposed, where we have to limit our output of carbon, of fossil fuels that lead to climate change. That's the solution, and that's going to take generations. We might be past the bridge. Some scientists are saying that it's too late, that no matter what we do now, any changes we make now, we're not going to see results. We may not see results, that it's too late. We've passed a tipping point. And some scientists say, no, we can still do something. We can still limit our carbon emissions to combat future climate changes, because it doesn't take much. Temperatures are rising. It doesn't take much for...
But how will we limit them?
Well, that's the whole controversy with cap and trade, where each country has their own credits on how much fuel, how much carbon emissions they can make, and they have credits, a certain cap, and they can exchange it with other countries. Countries that are below the cap, they can trade off some of their quotas, if you will, and then the other country can go ahead and increase their emissions as long as we reduce ours. But it's very complex. It's a complex system.
If you're just talking about climate change and how he would rectify the situation.
Just more government. I think they should rather...
Well, government's going to have to regulate, yes, the emissions. That's what we have in the EPA.
Because that just sounds like more jobs for more people that's coming in our pocket. Instead of that, why don't we just put in places incentives for alternative energy?
Oh, yes, we do have incentives. That's another issue. We do have incentives for alternative issue, but the fossil fuel industry is fighting because any kind of government subsidies for alternative fuel research. That's happening before Congress now, because Congress is giving subsidies to alternative energy providers, solar, wind, geothermal. You get tax credits, but the senators in Congress, in the Senate and congressmen, they want to eliminate those credits because they're being funded by the fossil fuel industry. They don't want energy to be alternative energy to be subsidized by the U.S. government anymore. And in some parts of the country, an hour of kilowatt energy that's produced by renewable sources like wind and solar is equal to a kilowatt hour that's generated by fossil fuels. In some parts of the country, because it's all independent utilities. But led by the Koch brothers, their lobby groups, they want Congress to do away with subsidies. Yet the fossil fuel industry has been around for decades, about 100 years now, more or less. They want to continue their subsidies, their tax perks, but they don't want renewable energy companies to have any kind of government subsidy. Because they compete, that's their competition. Instead of taking and creating jobs and saying, hey, this is the way of the future, let's go ahead and invest our money in alternative fuels, clean fuels, and we can provide jobs for people. We retool the same skills, the same people that are working in the fossil fuel industry. Let's retool them, if you will, their skills to adapt to a renewable energy future.
I got the end of that. Okay, that makes sense.
What do y'all consider fossil fuels?
Oh, fossil fuels are oil, gas. That's a fossil fuel. That's created by dead organic matter, dinosaurs. That's what oil is. Oil is dead dinosaurs, dead organic matter that's been compressed over the centuries, over millions of years.
They're typically non-renewable.
That's what oil is. Eventually, we're all going to become oil. Actually.
Okay.
So I have to go.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, let's see where Kevin is. Kevin.
We're waiting for Kevin, folks. My name is Carlos, and I'm going to be replaced by the adept, articulate, the technologically savvy Kevin Swabby. He'll be joining Siobhan here. Please feel free to call us at 786-802-3407 or come to DINtv.com. You can interact with us. And if you're watching us on Periscope and Meerkat, that's fine also. You can't interact, but thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Carlos Guerra, and I'm going to turn you over right now to the intelligent Kevin.
Beautiful.
Have fun
Beautiful
with the debates.
transition.
Okay.
Beautiful. I will see you later.
I'll see you later, Siobhan.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you, Kevin. I'll see you later.
And
Next week, I got my schedule for next
we
week.
are going to go ahead and tune into CNN Live, you guys.
Much, Jeff, and joining me now, Nia Malika Henderson, Ron Brownstein, senior editor at The Atlantic, Florida's own Adam Smith is back, and Ed O'Keefe also joins me from the Washington Post. So, Adam, Hillary Clinton obviously looking, prohibitively strong here in Florida, but it is not winner take all for the Democrats, as you were explaining. So, how well could Bernie Sanders do here?
Yeah, he's way behind. This is really the first time this entire cycle he's really set foot in Florida to do anything. But, he's got a fair amount of passion.
Hi, everyone. It's
So if he
Kevin
wins 30% that's a blowout, but it's still a fair number of delegates.
Tonight.
And so he could still add to his delegate count, which of course is the crucial thing that keeps this alive, right?
Yeah.
But, well, look,
Hi, everyone. I will be covering the debate tonight. And until then, I have my co-host here with me, Siobhan. And we're going to be going through the different past statements that the candidates have made. And it's going to be a pretty big night, being as Hillary had a huge win on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
No, huge loss.
Oh, I'm
Tuesday.
sorry.
Bernie had a big win on Tuesday, so it should be interesting to see how if they shift the attention back to Bernie.
Okay.
Because originally in the Republican debates, it's always been Hillary,
Mm-hmm.
not for Hillary. But now that they're seeing Bernie's picking up traction, are they going to?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I don't think they see him as a real contender because of his socialist platform. They're like, he's not going to be able to guarantee anything.
Ooh, girl, socialist platform. You think that's pretty intense?
I mean, it's what it's called.
Is that what he's calling it?
No, that's what we're calling it because that's what some of his positions lie under, like the free education.
I mean, the free education. I feel like
Free healthcare.
well, those are like examples of countries who have tried to take up those particular
Everybody being paid the same thing.
and it hasn't worked out for them. So
Taxes.
sounds like Wes has something to say. Because Wes was pretty quiet when we were playing that video with that dude getting punched in the face. I didn't hear him say nothing.
Oh, no, I seen that shit. Like, I can't say nothing about that, man. Like, that's like,
Yeah, your ass gonna get punched if you get up there.
doing some dumb shit, right? If I come to not support Trump at a Trump rally, that don't make no sense. You should punch yourself in the face because that's stupid. Why would you show up somewhere that you don't even support the man? Like, I don't get that. You just hate him.
Because to make a social commentary, I can hear myself. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
It's
He
just
made
to
a
make a
social
stand,
commentary.
and it's non-violent, so no one should have put his hands on it.
That's all fine and dandy. But if you don't even support the man, why are you there in the first place?
I mean, what better place to get attention?
You can do this shit on YouTube, talk good as much shit as you want to nowadays.
What better place to get attention than a whole rally of people who are not like-minded?
But sometimes you don't get the right attention. Sometimes you get a fucking elbow to your head.
Clearly, but like, who takes it into their own hands to put their hands on someone else? Like, who does that? That's someone.
Americans.
Americans. I'm not gonna call him racist because you always get me with the racist comment, but he was racist.
He probably was racist as fuck. He probably tired of
Wes's denial of the truth.
He's probably racist.
I'm letting him be an old man sitting in his rocking chair and just being like, "Damn."
They're showing it right now. Shit, you give him a good ass elbow.
Okay, we're gonna go to CNN Live, guys. If you're on Periscope and Meerkat, come directly to DINtv.
And you know what I love about this video? My favorite part is literally every time I describe a Trump supporter.
There's no place in our country. Mr. Trump should take responsibility for
They're not like
his
that.
supporters'
You're generalizing.
actions. Will he do that tonight?
He's done the opposite so far, right? I mean, he's had several comments at rallies where he's talked about in the old days they would carry him out on a stretcher where he seems to have either tolerated, if not welcomed, the kind of physical response to the protests. So I think it is going to be very important to see what he says tonight. And as part of this just general divergence we are seeing with Trump, on the one hand, he is rolling toward the nomination. I mean, he's clearly stronger than any of these other candidates. On the other hand, every warning light on the dashboard is blinking red at the moment for him as a general election candidate. NBC Wall Street Journal reported today the worst favorable unfavorable a primary candidate. So, you know, you've got in Trump someone who has done a lot of things that have really energized a portion of the Republican coalition, but have also worried and even frightened voters beyond that.
I don't know. Yeah, and particularly women. I mean, if you look at the gap he has with women voters compared to Hillary Clinton losing women by something like 20.
I don't know, like there's like this creation of like a sector of coloreds who just
Color greens, really.
Colored. He said colored.
I don't know. It's just
Kevin, you can't. Hey, but you can't be using my word, though, man.
no. I've always been using colored. I've been using colored.
Y'all trip out when I use color. I guess it might be the way I say it. You're colorful, but
Yeah.
Just Society Corner, we're all shaking our heads with you.
Yeah, you should come to DINtv.com and come talk with us. We are going to be covering the Republican debate tonight, and it should be interesting to see how that turns out. We have Glenda Custer. Thank you so much, Glenda, for joining us. When you feel like it, come and interact with us. But until then, if you just like watching, just keep doing what you're doing. But we see you in the queue. So when you're ready, just let us know.
And you posted for us some of the comments on Facebook.
It's in the DIN feed. Let me go ahead and pull it up here. We have a couple here. I have one here from Elaine. None of the previous presidents attended such funerals. Rubio probably gets the Latin vote. Cruz and Carlo, no. Israel is our ally. Hoping to get along with Iran, but being on alert. So it seems like
I have an opposite opinion. May I say?
Yes,
definitely. Go ahead.
Okay. Of course, Israel is our, like, the Americans' ally for centuries. Okay, for not centuries. Okay, for decades. Of course. But for centuries, ideally, mentally, okay, by souls. But the issue is, okay, if these candidates, like whoever it would be, eventually become a president, they need to fight ISIS. Only one country there really want to fight ISIS. It's Iran. It's not Saudi Arabia. It's not any like Jordan, Qatar, or whatever it is. They wouldn't do this. They just would pretend. So, because different religious branches in Islam, different history, roots of all this fight between them, only Iran will do that.
Definitely.
So, I don't know why they don't, because, okay, Iran, of course, did a lot of harm for the US, but if we're looking like in the future, let's focus on that problem that was actually created by Bush and Hillary Clinton administration, not Hillary Clinton, but all this revolution in Middle East, at least. So
definitely,
Iran can do this. They just need to find a solution with Israel. How? I don't know. But Iran, of course.
So you would want them to sort it out before we even try to do anything about it.
Yeah, but Iran wouldn't negotiate because.
Iran want to blow them off the map. Like we ain't even gonna talk here.
No talk. Wait, you don't want US to have hands in any of this, do you?
Man, listen, hell no, we need to go ahead. Hey, y'all, listen, y'all pay us our money. We need to protect y'all. We're gonna take all these crew out here. We're going home. Fuck y'all. Bye. For real, because listen, that shit's gonna get stupid over there.
Oh my God.
They want to blow them motherfuckers off the map. Like, they don't even want them to. They gone.
Speaking of blowing up, Miami debate is getting really heated right now. I actually have a live periscoper who is actually periscoping from the floor.
Really?
The debate. I have a link here, so let's check it out and see what's going on there.
It's beautiful.
With her.
And people on thank you, Cool Bad Boy and Faxdowski on Meerkat. Come join us directly on DINtv.com. We were talking about international relations just now if you were just getting pieces of the conversation.
Why wouldn't it let me share it? Okay, here.
He's getting it together, guys, so bear with him.
All right, you guys.
You may try to embed this.
Yeah, that's what I did
to
first.
grab the link, the direct link, or embed the whole thing.
Hold on.
Oh.
Wow. Okay, girl. Okay, so
I'm here at the
that
Miami.
leave. She ended it just now. It's only 5 minutes.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, yeah, but some of the things that I'm looking forward to, honestly, during this debate is maybe we'll get a cohesive argument from the candidates. You know,
No.
I won't have to hear about their penises or anything like that tonight.
No.
I mean, or a wall. I mean, I would.
No, you're definitely gonna be hearing about a wall because I mean this is Miami. This is a melting pot. There are a lot of people everywhere. He is definitely gonna bring up the wall.
You think so?
Fuck yes.
Wes says yes.
You think so? He lose it. I think if he
You know
does
what?
that.
It doesn't even matter, man.
How do you go to a lot?
But he's already polling to win, so he really has nothing to lose if he says how he feels because what he's been saying how he's felt this whole time, and people have been supporting him.
I call he doesn't even mention the wall tonight.
Really?
I don't think he will.
Oh, I don't want to put no money on it.
I don't even think if he does mention anything about immigration, it's going to be more job situation, and he's going to push the whole getting control of the economy. Because I'm thinking Trump, and Trump, if you're a racist. You don't want to say you're only blatantly racist because you want to use the person that you're being racist towards. So you trick them into thinking you actually like them.
Okay. So he's going to be roundabout with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because the racist stays true to it. They want to feel like they're racist and they're not going to adhere to the person that.
Okay.
So he won't say it, but he'll say it.
Kevin, you sound like a verse racist, man. Like you've been practicing and you've been studying and you just know.
I just don't hate when I see it.
You can practice that. You've been practicing that shit, man.
Never. Racism is to me super ignorant because I mean you're being racist towards something that somebody can't help. I can't help the color I am. There's nothing you can change about it.
And I mean, even if you could help it, why would you?
Genetics, it's a lie. You're lying to yourself.
A whole group of people.
I'm bleaching my skin. You're lying to yourself because if you have a baby, it's gonna be black. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man.
Wes, how do you feel like tonight's gonna go? Do you think he will address the wall?
And then the wall is coming out in his opening statement. We gotta have borders. We gotta have a wall, and Mexico is gonna pay for it. So he's telling the whole Spanish community if they haven't heard already.
Mexico says they aren't paying for anything.
That's okay. It just got 10 feet higher. Hey. Well, he got people trained good, man. I ain't gonna lie. That boy good.
So I have a tweet here from Trey Harden. He says, we now know where ass clowns stand on the behaviors of the camp manager. Therefore, safe to assume where he stands on domestic abuse. So it seems like people are not really up to par with Ted Cruz right now. They're not liking him down here.
Oh, this was a comment about Ted Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So...
But I mean, do you really think he should be a contender when he's leading so wholeheartedly with religion? I feel like if every position you take has to have some kind of religious backing, then how do you plan to lead a country of people who are divided religiously?
Oh, you see who is on the air? The guy who spent 71 million.
Rick Scott.
We have a recent cancer survivor on the air right now. Let's listen to what
when I think about this, I think about what's happened to people like Stephen Soloff.
He had to be asked several times until finally Anderson Cooper asked him, "Do you mean radical Islam?" Then he said yes. He didn't take that at the beginning. And part of that, it's comments like those that are causing some to compare him to Hitler. People who do not like him. The current president of Mexico, two former presidents of Mexico have compared him to Hitler. The Vicente Fox, former president, specifically said, "quote He reminds me of Hitler." It's direct. It's not an illusion. It's a direct thing. He reminds me of Hitler.
He didn't even.
Do they have a point?
Like he wouldn't even know.
I'm not sure exactly what Donald meant when what he said, but I can tell you what happened after the Paris attacks. What I said is until the federal government can make us comfortable with what their vetting process is,
questions.
I don't want any more Syrian refugees to come into my state. Because as we know, in Paris, we had one of the terrorists imposed as a Syrian refugee.
Right.
We've got to make our country feel safe about people that are coming in and they're vetted and we know who's coming into our country.
Just to be clear, though, supporting not having refugees come into Florida is different than temporarily supporting a ban on all Muslims.
Well,
Would you support that?
Well, what I support is I want to understand the vetting process. I asked the White House on a call, tell me how the vetting process is better than the French vetting process. I'm sure the French government wants their citizens to be safe. They couldn't tell me. I asked them, will you give my law enforcement the same information that you have on the backgrounds of these refugees? They said, no, that's wrong. We should know what the vetting process is, and our law enforcement should know if they're going to send Syrian refugees into our state, exactly what their background is.
Governor Scott, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Governor
of Florida here in Miami with me. Up next, we're a little over 30 minutes away from the CNN.
All right, you guys on Periscope and Miracast just now. When Chris, what's his name?
Rick Scott
was talking about Rick Scott was talking about the recent comments about Trump and his immigration policy. So how do you guys feel about the stance? Because as of right now, he didn't answer anything to me. It sounds like he was skipping and towing around the place.
He said he agrees that there should be no Syrian refugees here because we can't. Well, he's like, unless we know the background of every Syrian refugee, which is going to be impossible. But he's like, but he's not with the whole ban Muslims thing.
He didn't say that, though, but he's not going to answer that question. Like, he's more professional. He ain't stupid. Like, that's why he didn't answer the question on live TV just so he can embarrass Joe and Mika. He embarrassed the shit out of them. Like, they looking like some starving dogs on TV. Try to make somebody answer a question. You don't have to answer that shit.
Well, I mean, you're talking about in what respect? He embarrassed them how?
They on TV looking dumb, trying to make the man answer the question when it's obvious. Like, come on.
He trumping right now.
He trumping hard. Like,
trumping is when you telling somebody how they feel about the situation.
I cannot. I hate that his name is even synonymous with overpowering or being on top of someone. Like,
it's like somebody is like Trump saying the ocean is purple, and you saying no, you know it's blue, but you're gonna sit there and argue with Trump, and Trump is gonna look at you dead ass and be like, "You a dumb man. It's purple. Like, dude, it's purple. Like, what's wrong with you?" Like.
Yes, Trump would do that. He would want looking at you saying you a dumbass without saying you a dumbass. He want to see how long you gonna just dumbass for real.
So you got to be sure of your shit. That's why I don't think he can handle Bernie, because Bernie is sure about his stuff and he's never flustered. So Trump is gonna actually have to use his brain.
Do you have a gang of Bernie supporters, or do you have, like, in my life right now? I feel like I'm the only one who supports Bernie. Everybody in my life is a Hillary fan.
Everybody that
I'm serious.
What is wrong with your peeps?
Because they're like,
do they know that? Did they not know her policies?
They know her policies, and they know that she's like had a history of corruption when it comes to the emails and the flip flopping on different policies. But it's like, we know Clinton, we know Bill Clinton, therefore we know Hillary. I didn't say this. I'm saying this is what they're saying.
No, they just need some kind of monarchy. They need a king. They need a Tsar. Correct? They will know him or her for years, for decades.
People watch Game of Thrones and think America is like the next Westeros.
Like, I wouldn't go that far, but I don't think they understand what it's going to be like if Hillary comes into power.
It's going to be just like Obama.
And, well, then if that's the case, they don't feel like
we're going to see a lot more Beyonce and Jay-Z next year then? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, as jobs and shit go out the window, for sure.
I mean, I'm sure she will have a hold in the social realm. She will be on every show. She will be, but I think this is what you need to do to connect with millennials, and this is what you need to do to connect with people. And I also think that she should have stood her ground on certain policies, and she shouldn't have been flip-flopping.
I want to talk to your family, just be like,
no, not my family.
Oh, people that you know.
My friends. I can call them up, but they're not going to have a logical way to put this. So I'm not gonna have them look stupid on air. That's not what I'm gonna do.
We'll just call them Joe or Sam. You know what? I'll call somebody right now. I'm gonna call my sister.
Okay, I'm gonna text someone.
But the thing she doesn't. So let's talk to a millennial who isn't really into politics and see what they know so far about like
the political world right
And
now.
I'm gonna text somebody who's a Hillary supporter and see if she'll come. If she'll talk to us. Because we already got a Trump supporter here, so we don't need any more of those.
That's what I don't get about Bernie, right?
Wait. I guess tell us after Kevin called. She really does not answer strange number.
All right, I'm gonna call my friend Lauren.
Damn, she lame as hell.
People on Periscope and Meerkat, if you have a political position, if you're siding with Trump or Hillary or anyone, you can call us at 786-802-3407 if you can't directly log into DINtv.com.
Like, how you don't answer your phone number? That bitch calling your phone. You just look at it. Fuck it, answer the phone, find out. That's why you ask.
I ignore calls too.
Oh man, you gotta answer them motherfuckers.
Hi, Lauren. It's Kevin. I'm calling you live on my website on DINtv.com. Okay, so say hi to everyone.
Hi. Hello there.
All right, so we're just asking a couple millennials different questions about the candidates right now. Trump and the Republicans are going to be debating tonight. So what are your thoughts about them? Like, what do you think about Trump, CRUZ, and the Republican Party in itself?
I think, honestly, it's probably, I don't know whether to laugh or cry.
So have you been tuning in? Because one of the big things that have been talked about during the political race right now is millennials and their influence with the candidates and why they're not going out there and voting. Are you one that's going to go out and vote, or are you just like watching the show and seeing what happens?
Oh, no, I always vote. I've been voting since I was able to vote at 18, so I'm definitely going to vote. I can't say that I've been tuning into the Republican debates because I really don't like to frustrate myself with that.
Definitely.
Democratic debate.
And who are, if you don't mind us asking, who are you rooting for right now in regards to the Democrats? Because you said you're more of a Democratic person.
Yeah, I'm voting for Bernie.
Bernie, okay. And what about Bernie stroke you as like made you want to like vote for him or stroke you with him?
I just feel like he's just more of a human being than anyone else. Any candidate that's been around for a while, actually. Very relatable, and the topics he talks about and everything he's so passionate about is things that I've always been passionate about.
Nice.
So Hillary doesn't give you like a fuzzy feeling?
No, it's just one too many lies that have just, she's been entangled in. And it's not that I don't like her per se. It's just that she just gives me just another political liar type.
But maybe some of our viewers feel like maybe she's just hiccuped a couple times. Maybe just give her a second chance.
I can't say that I'm completely just against Hillary. I don't think she's like a terrible person how I think Trump is.
Mm-hmm.
If it comes down to it, I definitely would vote for Bernie.
So if it came down to Hillary and Trump, who is taking your vote?
Bernie.
Bernie's not in the race, girl. Tell us. If you had to choose between Trump and Hillary, you have to choose one of them. Who would you choose?
I would vote for Hillary.
Hillary?
No way I wouldn't want to see someone like Trump in office.
But the thing is, like, if I had to choose between either or, it would definitely be Trump, only for the simple fact that he would break the establishment when it comes to corporations running the government. Do you feel like Hillary is just going to be part of another regime where it's just the same old Obama and Clinton?
It would be more of the same. It would probably be more of the same of what's going on with Obama, but I don't think
so. Is the same good?
That shape as a country, total bad shape a couple years ago. So I'd rather that than someone who has absolutely no experience, who can't even. Well, he's been good at real estate, but every other company he's tried to gone either bankrupt or just has not made it.
One of the big things that are happening tonight is the Republican debate being held in Miami right now. So one of the things that we are looking forward to
What is
hearing
it that
from
they
them
don't
is
understand?
immigration.
Yeah, entrepreneurs have multiple businesses. You might start 10,
Do you feel
20
like
businesses.
Trump's
It only
racist with
takes
his comments?
2 or 3 successful
money for
businesses
that
to
wall.
make you
Where
rich.
is he gonna get the money for that?
He's gonna get it in Mexico, girl. He told
I wish
us.
she could hear you.
Yeah, unless he's planning on paying for it out of pocket, I don't know how he's going to do half the shit he says.
What did he ask?
Well, one thing he asked is, he was saying,
One of our viewers has a question for you. Hold on, Lauren.
are you okay with a continuation of what is happening now with our economy? Because it's not like, is she not acknowledging that it's not in a good state?
Okay, so one of our viewers says, so what happens to the economy
If Bernie is president?
if Bernie is president? Because from now, all we've heard is Bernie saying corporations are bad. We need to give the money back to the smaller people. Give them raise.
People who pay taxes, like, they don't really go, like, they're like, you know, they're so afraid of, like, Bernie saying, oh, we're going to raise taxes, or whatever, but that's not really what it is. Like, when you pay taxes,
No, that really
probably
what it
90%
is.
of that goes to people who do not need it, and the other 10% goes to shit like, you know, that it has to go to, like, veterans and healthcare and stuff like that. But I think it's a good idea to do kind of more what Europe does. Like, they take care of their citizens. Like, you go over there, you really don't see, like in France or Germany, like top European countries.
Uh-huh.
So you see it; it's in better shape. You don't really see so much
Corruption, basically.
Bullshit.
You know, like people are not going bankrupt because they have to choose between dying or going to the hospital.
And one of the good points Bernie made the other night was just like when they told him, like, why do you feel like people deserve healthcare? Like, who's to say that they deserve it? And basically his answer was because they're human. It should be like a human right. Even if you come into this life without anything, you should be able to know that if anything were to be wrong with you, somebody's going to be there to actually take care of your health. If that's the least that we could do.
Exactly. Like, if I probably would have gotten better healthcare when I was pregnant, I probably would not have delivered prematurely, but I was just being strung along by so many doctors.
Yeah, it's almost like a business. It's like if you're not sick enough, then we're not going to take care of you because we can't charge you as much as we want to.
Exactly.
Definitely. So Lauren, thank you so much for tuning in and actually answering some of my questions. So save this number because, girl, I'm going to be calling you randomly sometimes, okay?
I'm private, but
all right, girlie. Thank you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
And I'll call my friend now.
So that was a Latin German.
Latin German? What a combination.
Right.
So let me ask you something.
I swear, my friends have like the
You
weirdest
must ask her
faces.
something.
Let me ask you something.
No, you can't get her number.
I don't even want her number. She don't know what the hell she's talking about. Let me ask you a question.
Uh-huh.
What would hurt corporations more?
What? What would hurt what?
What would hurt them more? Cutting their taxes or raising their taxes?
What would hurt them more? Cutting their taxes or raising their taxes? Is that what he said?
Yeah, I would think raising their taxes.
Raising their taxes, right?
Maybe I would think raising it only for the simple fact is that they don't want to pay extra money that they don't have to.
I would think.
Okay, so this is what I'm just trying to. It hit me yesterday, and I'm just trying to get this into my brain to get it the process right.
Okay.
So Trump wants to cut corporate taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Bernie wants to raise them. And apparently, according to Bernie, the major threats and the problems are these big corporations. When you think the big corporations that he wants to take money from would put hundreds of millions of dollars towards stopping him from being elected?
I mean, I think they are.
Listen, hold on. Trump is trying to, listen. Trump is trying to cut their taxes so that they pay less. Bernie's trying to raise their taxes so they pay more. That's more of a threat, isn't it?
Yeah.
So why aren't those big corporations going after Bernie to shut him down?
I think they are, but they're using tactics as in the media. He's barely mentioned in the mainstream media.
They aren't.
And I raise my eyebrow at any candidate who would do something that's not in their favor, especially Trump, because he's known to be selfish. Like, why would he do something that would harm him? I just don't see it.
May I put my 2 coins?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, girl. Go ahead.
I'm not sure, but I just recently read from Robert blah 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 something. He was a labor minister at the Clinton administration, and he explained just a couple days ago that corporation already in such very favorable tax regime that they don't pay even nothing. They don't pay anything. Why corporation in this regime? Because government tries to stimulate them to return jobs back, but they don't do this because their taxes already like equal to the zero almost. So the plan of Trump to cut taxes wouldn't work because it's already near the zero. Only one way to raise taxes, and who didn't bring jobs back into the US, they have to pay even more. But only this way will stimulate. And all these trade deals, NAFTA, Trans-Pacific Partnership should be terminated, obviously. Only this way to bring jobs back.
So you agree with Bernie's stances then when it comes to restructuring the economy?
At least given what I know, maybe I'm wrong.
But yeah. Okay, then the question is always goes back to, if they're paying nothing now, and they already have a 35% tax, they're paying nothing now. What are they going to pay if they pay absolutely nothing now? And we already have taxes in place. What are they going to pay when you raise them? They're paying. They're not paying 35% now. They're paying nothing now. We already have these laws in place. What are they going to pay when you raise them?
But because nobody like really pushed them to pay, because it was made just in order to stimulate them to bring jobs back that they never done, because for them it's much more
expensive,
profitable to pay some taxes here and even some penalties, some fees, but not bring jobs back because it will be for them more expensive. More expensive. But what America needs, it needs more jobs. This is the goal. So they have to somehow sacrifice, and sometimes enough is enough. And so, after all those profits, guys, you have to somehow to tighten your belts and to start already building your own country instead of China, what they're doing right now, or Vietnam, or Cambodia.
It's almost like being super rich.
So then we all agree.
Almost super rich.
We all
agree that raising their taxes is more detrimental to their profits and their organizations, right? So then why aren't they launching a full-on attack to take out the person who wants to raise their taxes?
What do you want, like Armageddon? Like
I think they don't he would be.
Yeah, they don't see him as electable.
They don't.
That's what y'all think.
I think they are doing things like look at the media the blackout when it comes to Bernie. Those were,
he was streaming all day. He was been on TV all day.
I mean, times are changing now with the whole Hillary.
I want to call my friend
the big win
with Hillary.
Okay.
So let's see if I have her number. Yeah, just text.
I just feel like these guys look for Trump type of things. If you're super, like, think of it like this. I know people who are super rich, right? And they don't care where they park. They'll park whatever. They'll just pay the ticket. It's like nothing to them. You get what I'm saying? So if you're that wealthy, fines is nothing to you. So why not just pay them?
Hello.
Hello there.
Hi, Siobhan.
Oh, thank you for knowing who this is. You are live on DINtv.com, and we would like to know, I have told them that you are leaning towards voting for Hillary, and we wanted to know some of your reasons for doing this.
Oh, it's not a leading. I've already voted today.
Oh, well.
Poor thing. Oh my goodness. Let me help you. What happened?
They are really starkly against Hillary here. I just thought you should know.
Whistle once if your family is held captive by the Clinton administration.
Well, for one, she's a woman. I will always choose the woman over the man. Women are more intellectual, and we're more sensitive to matters at hand than men are.
Okay, that's reason number one.
But she don't know how to
Then
use the
also,
wrong email.
because she
Okay.
said for a lot of the things that I agree with, as far as giving women choices, you know, our body is our body. We should be able to do what we want.
Bernie's giving
Not
you
have
those
someone
same
else
choices too.
tell us what to do.
So what about Bernie didn't resonate with you? Because it sounds
What
like
was that?
what about Bernie didn't resonate with you? Was it his lack of
No, it's some
awareness?
things that he has that I totally like. Like one of the most important things is about the education. I think that's really something that should be focused on in this country because we spend tons and tons of money, and I'm one of those people that's in debt when it comes to school.
Mhm.
So I agree with him 1,000% as far as for trying to make education free for people who want to go to school.
Mhm.
And
So what Hillary's? Did you knowing Hillary? Because did you look into her past, seeing her floppiness when it comes to her stances on a lot of policies? You know, 1 minute she's this,
yeah,
1 minute
she's
she's
a flip
that.
flopper. I get it, but it's a lot of people that flip floppers. Either way it goes, because look at a lot of the Republicans. They supposed to stand for so much that's related to Christianity, but once it's something that affects them personally, then their stance is totally different.
Okay.
So I mean, give or take, everyone has their issues where they're a little bit on one side rather than the other once it comes to something that personally affects them.
Definitely. I know with Bernie, I mean, he's had a pretty good track record in regards to his.
He's trying to convert you to Bernie right now,
She
basically.
still has time to change her vote. She can go back into, no, seriously, she still has time.
She's not going to.
She will. I'm gonna definitely wake her up to the corporate puppet that is Hillary Clinton.
Lord Jesus.
Do you want somebody who's navigated by the pockets and coins that she's receiving from these old, rich white guys in big corporate America, or do you want Bernie, who, with your late roots, was walking hand in hand with Martin Luther King, getting arrested, so that you and I could sit down and have a conversation without worrying about if we're on the right side of the room? You know?
It is true, but it's just funny how he's pitching it.
In the background, what's the person in the background saying?
Why are people so blind? No, he said, why are people so blind? Because he actually did march with a lot of civil rights activists to make it so that we would be cohesive together as a people.
While Hillary was playing with Miss Becky Sue in her white suburban area.
I don't know anything about Becky Sue.
You have to also realize as people get older, their agenda also changes. So yes, Bernie may have
pockets get fatter, don't they?
Hillary may have been playing with Susie May in the corner somewhere, but that doesn't necessarily mean that her outlook on what she wants to do for the country and for people as a whole is any different as far as from what Bernie may have.
Are you?
She also, I feel like this too. When it's a specific party, the party overall, I feel as though they all have things in common.
Right.
It's that they take different routes on how they want to get to the end point of what they have in common.
Right.
So you may want to take road A and I may want to take road B, but we're still going to end up pretty close to what we both feel that we have in common. It's just that we have different ways of getting there.
And I mean,
and I just honestly feel as though me personally, as you know, because I want to vote for Hillary, I am a Democrat. I really wouldn't feel any type of way, even if Bernie was the person to become president, as long as it's not a Republican. For me, it doesn't
do
matter.
you really want to go down in history saying you voted for her, though? If you're okay with that, just go ahead and vote for.
I am very much so okay with that because honestly, even though she may be the one as far as in the chair, me. Bill Clinton will have something to do with it.
She doesn't even
as far as
the people are oh no,
I know. I think this is actually a really good point. I think she's making a really good point.
Yeah, it's a lot of people believe
feel
this.
this way.
They're
voting for Bill.
some of the final decisions that she makes, and hands down, I must say. No, it was.
So you want to elect Bill Clinton again?
By him being the first man,
Good luck.
that's what it'll be. He will have a lot of influence on a lot of decisions.
One of our users say, so you want to elect Bill Clinton again? Good luck.
Ask him again, I would.
Bill Clinton is over. Okay, he was good at his specific time.
But like I
Now
said, I
the
don't
time
have
is gone.
to forget
Guys, you cannot
Bernie Sanders. And I
revert
also
the
feel like
past.
it's time for a change. We've always had men as president. Let's have a woman for a change. Let's see if a different outcome can happen with a woman.
If you don't mind me asking, did you vote
She's
during the
not
Obama?
I'm playing.
Did you vote during the Obama?
I sure did.
And what was your reasons for voting for Obama? Just curious.
Again, I'm a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I was looking for I was also listening to some of the things that he had to say. He was very articulate. I'm like, okay, I don't even want to get into the
Get into it, girl.
That's going on right now.
Get into it.
Yeah, this presidential election. But yeah, he's very articulate, and he had a lot of things that I also was interested in as being a Democrat, even though he too was a flip flopper. Because remember, there were certain things that he initially came against, as far as one thing being gay marriages. So you see how his opinion also changed. It's like you can't be quick to say, well, this person was on this side at one point and now they're on this side. When you're living in America with all of the changes that take
Listen,
place,
you don't judge nobody by
you
what
have
they
to
say.
find a
Let's
way
look at the job he did.
to reach out to every different segment of the population. So you can't be like, oh,
I agree.
because I'm religion, I don't want to have anything to do with people that they bisexual, transgender, or whatever the case may be. Because guess what? There are still people of America, so you still need to find some type of way to cater for those people. So it's not, you can't just go with the, oh, this person flip flop, they did this, they had scandals here. We all got scandals, everybody got dirt. And like I said, at the end of the day, as long as it's a Democrat that's in the chair, I'll be happy.
But the thing is,
Ask her if she got what she voted for.
one of our users asked, when you voted for Obama, did you get what you were looking for?
For the most part, yes. One of the main things, again, because he's the one that did.
Hello? Oh my God, the NSA's at it again. Hello?
No! Miss Johnson? I think we lost her.
We lost her. Let's see if she calls back. No, but I think the number shows up private on people's phones.
Oh,
Because
okay.
my friend was like, I can't save the number, it's private. Is this a number?
Yeah.
That's that rising tide when y'all knocking your power up.
That rising tide.
Hi, this is Bernie Saunders calling for Shanika. What the hell wrong with you, girl?
Oh, not Bernie, because Bernie would not talk in that manner.
You see? Because you know what you're getting with Bernie. That's why you know that.
He's gonna flip everything you say in the way to
Because you know what you're getting with Bernie. You can't say that about Hillary. You don't know what you're going to get with Hillary.
And when he asked you that Obama question, he was hoping you said I voted for him because he was black, so that we can just discount anything you're saying and be like, this lady is ignorant. We don't need to hear why she wants to go for Hillary.
It's not ignorant. I don't think it's ignorance. I just think it's like nostalgia. Because when you think of the 90s, that's a good time. Like, that was a good time for me when I was a kid. I know Bill Clinton was in office too, so I had a lot of good memories around that time. But, honey, this is new times now. We're not getting the same old Bill Clinton. I mean, this guy looks sick. He looks...
Stop!
Have you seen pictures of him?
But guess what? That was because he was stressed while he was in the office, but that still doesn't have anything to do
Can you imagine having a white president?
to handle.
Girls already.
Did she get what she voted for? That's what I still want
Our
to know.
users are saying you are circumventing the question. Did you get what you were looking for with Obama?
I sure did.
What you got, girl? Tell us.
Especially with Grace. He never got out of character, especially when things were going wrong. He also stood for making sure that mortgage rates went down. He helped with education. He helped with making sure that people in general are treated fairly, no matter what color may be, as well as making sure women get the
I need some examples
that they're supposed to serve. He works on issues in regards to also, he's always been in the forefront when there's issues. Unlike past presidents that have been scared to come from behind the scenes, whenever something has happened through this president, Obama has been in office, you always see him on the news addressing the issues. He's stuck up for people that have had issues with gun laws, which is super important for Definitely.
Well, how are you gonna vote for a girl that
What Trump? It's not Bernie, it will be Trump.
And our user is saying you need to just go ahead and vote for Trump because if it won't be Bernie, it's going to be Trump.
The devil is a lie.
I think you voted for it. Actually, I think you voted for the devil.
Oh God!
A vote for Hillary is a vote for Trump.
Trump is the devil.
Our user said a vote for Hillary.
Trump is
a
the devil, but your girl having dinners with him, golfing with him. You didn't see these pictures?
I mean, that was before when he was funding her campaign. Before when she ran, that's when all these pictures were from.
I don't think he will fund her campaign while he's running.
What is going to change? They steal from the same, from the same society, from the same small.
The user is saying that nothing is going to change because Trump and Hillary are from the same kind of society.
We will always be friends. We will always. They always have the same.
Disagree with that because you don't hear Hillary saying she's going to be on the wall and keep messages out. You don't hear Hillary saying, "Oh, she doesn't want Muslims in the country."
Nope, you hear bring them motherfuckers in.
She says
bring them all in. Bring them all in.
I mean, she said,
give them citizenship. Give them citizenship. Give them jobs. Bring them all in.
So why are you counting Hillary out completely?
The thing is with Hillary that really bothers me.
Fuck it, we got it. Bring them on in.
I feel like she's
motherfuckers here starving.
Her husband's nostalgia with the minorities, and then in turn is acting like she cares when she
fuck a green card. Give them a license.
That's never been a policy she's been fighting against. You know, Bernie has always been in the trenches when it comes to equal rights for everyone, for every human being. Every human being.
No goddamn trenches.
Feel equal and not lesser than anybody else.
He had his fucking hand
up
40 years.
The establishment is the perfect reason why you should vote for him.
Bernie been in goddamn over 26 years. They've been blowing up America. They've been fucking sucking this bitch dry. He's been in there 26 years.
Well, I can't convey all that's being said on this end, but I just want to say thank you so much for answering the phone when we called.
Shanika,
and we probably will be calling you back at some point because we love to hear from you.
Yes, and we would love to see your face on DINtv.com. So come and check it out. I would love to talk to you face to face because I know what it is. Like
Her baby isn't gonna let her talk to us.
I've seen intervention. Like you don't know you have a problem until I address it. So I'm gonna help you. I love people, so I'm gonna help you. Okay?
She don't even know she just voted for Trump.
You're hilarious. Oh my god.
All right, bye, gorgeous. You have a good night. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Bye.
All right, you guys. I mean, I love this mix of different people. You know, we had a Hillary supporter, we had a Bernie supporter. So that was really interesting. I mean, our users here, Kirill and Wes, were about to faint.
They were like, give him a license. Don't give him a green card. Give him a license.
Give him a license.
I heard Wes the moment she was like, well, we never had a female. Wes was like,
no.
He didn't even let her fit. It was just like, oh my gosh. Wes, can she live? Can she live?
I'll let her live. I'm just saying. But think about it. All right, think about this shit now. We got 96 million people out of the labor force. That means they asses ain't working. They ain't even thinking about a job. They ain't worried about a job. They at home watching the goddamn debate. 96 million people. That is damn near 27% of the population. So when they tell y'all 5% of the unemployment, they lying like a motherfucker. So now think about this. You want to add another 6-7 million people to a workforce that's non-existent. That's more people competing for less jobs. How is that good for the country?
I mean, it will bring about competition. The strongest will definitely, like natural selection, the strongest will survive.
That's more people competing for less jobs. Wages go down.
Yeah.
That's a lesser chance of you getting a job.
So you're trying to tell me that
the cookies up so that you get
I'm
that
about
job.
to be fired from here? That's what you're trying to tell me.
I got a map for y'all here. I go check that out.
Okay, give us.
So let that Muslim get your job, then, Wes. Like,
I'm not worried about nobody taking my quote unquote job. I'm not worried about that. I don't even have one.
He's working on his finances inside his home. You know.
Yes.
He is building his empire from the ground up.
But when that Muslim Geek Squad person comes to fix his computer.
Oh my god. I have to book this popsicle stand, guys.
All right, thank you, Siobhan, so much for joining us.
It has been a real pleasure, especially tonight. You guys have really been on one, clearly. And I'm gonna try to get on a little bit later after I do what I have to do. So I might be seeing you again. So bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining. All right, so guys, we're gonna have my girl Kayla. She's gonna be in very soon. Blonde hair, blue eyed, Missy Miss. Because I know you guys have been missing the estrogen. So we have some girls here for you guys to talk politics.
So about your blue eyes, blonde hair, yeah, long legs. Okay, good.
Big tits, fat ass.
Please a little bit more about this point. Yes.
You guys come. If you guys want to see some real high politics, then come to DINtv.com.
Anybody think Trump gonna self-destruct tonight?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna see a different Trump. I think we're gonna see a more articulate Trump tonight. He's gonna have to talk his way out of these wall questions.
This debate actually the last chance for Kasich, for Rubio to do something, because
poor Kasich, nobody's like even looking
but
for him.
If he self-destruct, then they might have a chance.
What do you think? He's gonna have like a post-traumatic stress a moment there and just like freak out? No.
You don't know he's gonna Trump out.
Trump knows. I think Trump is comfortable on the stage at this point because he knows that people just go to the debates to see him. So it's pretty much he's the star of the show. That's how he feels.
Think so?
That's what he knows. So that's what he thinks too. So
it's another Univision debate.
Univision, no. It's actually, I think it's CNN that's hosting it. You think a Republican's gonna make a Spanish channel host the debate? Are you serious? Come on. All right. So, can you imagine Trump getting this type of questions that Hillary was getting last night? He would pee his pants, or maybe not.
I think he would have looked that lady in the face and asked her if you were legal. If she wasn't, her ass was. You told her you're gonna be gone.
That'd be so rude for him to say that, though.
But I mean, you gotta stand on your issues. Like,
look at that evil ass smile. Look at that smile, Carl. The one on the screen right here where I shared. See, you can see the reptilian coming out of him.
They like just ate the bull. They just ate something big. A lot of steaks actually. Boiled just around the corner.
Trump said, the man asked him, do you provide the steaks? No, I buy the steaks. I buy the steaks and sell them at my restaurant. So are they your steaks? He's like, I buy the steaks and I sell them through my restaurant. But are they Trump steaks? Well, I sell them at my restaurant. It's a Trump restaurant. Like, the guy just gave up. He was just like, I'm not even gonna keep asking him this question.
Exactly. Why does a journalist feel they have to ask the same question 4 times? Like,
because they're not getting the answer.
No, they're not getting the answer. They're not getting the answer they want. They get an answer. They just don't like that answer. They need to learn how to fucking piss off and ask better questions.
But the way he worded his steak empire was very misleading. Hence the questions that were asked by the reporters.
That's if you're easily misled. That's if you're
Stop it. I'm not even gonna let you finish that statement because you don't even believe in yourself. Stop it.
That's if you're trying to believe in a certain narrative and you're not listening to what he's saying. If you listen to it, like, all right, I can get that. I get it.
You that type of troll that be setting people up. Because you can be meaning the meanest thing, but because the way you set it up, people have to take it for what it is, even though you meant it the other way.
They're doing that Trump shit, huh?
Yeah.
Like,
but
motherfucker.
I'm just waiting for Trump to really pop off tonight. And we're moments away from the debate right now. I want to see some real debating, some real topics being discussed, some real change.
He was on Hannity last night for like 40 minutes.
What was he saying? Let's see if we can pull up that clip. What was the name of the show he was on?
Hannity. That was it was like a town hall type setting.
Okay.
It was going on during the debate last night.
How do you spell that? How do you spell Hannity?
Hannity. I wonder who got more views, the debate or Trump.
I'm pretty sure if it was Trump, we'll be hearing it tonight. I'm pretty sure. All right, so Hannity, he's done several, but I'm trying to find the one from yesterday. You said, right?
Yeah, it was last night.
Hannity.
I watched it on YouTube earlier.
Okay, here it is. I found it. All right, you guys. So our viewer Wes actually told us about this clip of a recent interview actually last night of Trump and Sean Hannity. So let's go ahead and see what they're talking about here.
All right, we're in beautiful Fayetteville, North Carolina, a special edition of Hannity with a lot of our friends. Thank you for being here. We have for the full hour the leader on the GOP presidential nomination side. Let's give a warm North Carolina, Fayetteville welcome, Mr. Donald Trump.
This is the right video, right? Yeah. Trump, Trump. Is that what they're saying in the crowd?
No, that's his crowd.
Wow.
Let's see it game.
That's right.
White power.
I want you to know here on Fox, unlike a lot of the rest of the media, I noticed that when you have big crowds, we've had to turn away thousands. We show the full crowd, so I know that you've talked about that.
Right. It's always nice to show the crowd. We have a great crowd. This is beautiful.
He looks tired.
You know, Sean?
These guys are exhausted. I can see it in their faces.
Down the road, we have another crowd right after
About
that.
12,000 people.
12, 13, 14,000 people.
Who's going there? Is anybody going? Alex, thanks for being. All right, you are maybe 1 week away. If you were to win Florida and Ohio, and polls show that the Real Clear Politics average is about you're plus 18 in Florida.
Right.
There's a Fox poll that came out today that showed you more than double Marco Rubio at 43% to his 20%. If you win Florida and Ohio, you are well on your way to the nomination to be the Republican nominee for president. How would that make you feel?
It would make me feel great because we're going to beat Hillary. And we're going to make America great again. I mean, it's one of those things. It would make me feel great. Yeah.
You know, I know that you've talked a lot, and I've had an opportunity, and I'm thankful for the opportunity. I've interviewed you and all the candidates throughout this process, and I watched the criticism. I watched the debates. These debates have been getting pretty fierce, right? And I want to give you an opportunity, if this does happen to you, how do you fix our broken economy? I just told this crowd we have 95 million Americans out of the labor force, 50 million in poverty, 46 million on food stamps. All these young people, we've stolen from all our young children. We've doubled the debt. This president will accumulate more debt than every other president before him combined. Walk us through the details. How do you fix it?
Okay. So what's happened to the country is trade deals done by incompetent people. We had incompetent people. We've made terrible trade deals. What we've done, even worse than trade in the pure sense, is our companies are leaving because we almost encourage companies to get out of the country because we have no policies. We don't know what we're doing. Other countries devalue their currencies and they make it impossible for companies to say. You see Carrier leaving. They announced last week 1,400 people. Ford is moving massive operations into Mexico. Nabisco is leaving Chicago. It's not going to happen with me, Sean. That's not going to happen with me. And you go, and I know North Carolina very well, by the way, because I have property in North Carolina. You know, Charlotte.
Is there any state you don't have property?
Not too many. But actually, I have on Lake Norman. Does anybody know Lake? It's an incredible property, Trump National, and it's like an incredible property, and with great people and great members, and everybody's happy. The most beautiful homes you've ever seen. And this is a great part of the world, but they lose industry. They're losing tremendous industry, and we're losing industry all over the country. And they're moving to other places. A lot of them are moving to Mexico. Don't underestimate it. It's like the new China, on a smaller level, but like the new China.
I agree.
So we will bring our jobs back. We're going to bring our jobs, as sure as you're sitting there, we are going to bring our jobs back into this country for the first time.
China said, no embassy, let's take over a state.
We're going to stop being the country that's just pushed around. You know, recently you saw Vicente Fox. He was the former...
He was on my TV show. He and I had a big fight.
Okay, well,
you missed that edition. Yeah.
And he said, we will not pay for the wall. And he used the word, right? He used the F word. And I said, can you imagine if I used that word? With him, it wasn't even like a scandal. I thought he'd be in the front page of the papers. He said, we will not build that you-know-what wall. And I said, whoa, that's terrible. But actually, when he ultimately said, he said, we're not going to finance it. We're not going to pay for it. And I said to myself, wow, we've made project. You know, he would never say, they would never agree to it. Now they're saying they're not going to pay for it. They will pay for the wall. We're going to build the wall. We're going to pay for the wall. We're going to stop businesses from leaving our country. And they are being drained out of our country. Our jobs, our money, our base, and our factories. We're going to stop it.
You don't expect he's going to write a check. But what you're saying is that they will have to make concessions.
Well, there's many different ways.
So in other words, you don't expect Mexico to say, no, so you think the deals that you make with it will more than compensate for the wall?
Even if we tax them, we may tax them. Okay, it doesn't make any difference.
We have viewers
We
here that
lose
are
a
watching
tremendous amount of money. We have a trade deficit with Mexico, $58 billion. People don't know that. The wall's going to cost $10 billion, okay? That's a Trump wall, beautiful wall. It'll be done properly. It'll be way up there, Sean. You'll be very proud of it. It'll look good, too, as good as a wall can look. And it's going to have a door in it, you know, big, a really beautiful door. You know what that means, right? People are going to come in legally, but they're going to come in legally. They're going to come to our country.
You know, I've been to the border 10 times. I should tell these people, I've been out with Border Patrol. I've been out on Border Patrol agents on horseback, all-terrain vehicle. I've been there with them when gang members were arrested. I've seen drug warehouses. I saw a tunnel in a San Diego office building dug from Mexico up through that office building. And we know the statistics. Here's the question. I want to get back to the economy. Government spending is out of control. How do we stop the growth of government?
So I've been watching him for so many years, and you can learn from this guy, and you can learn from the guests. You know, sometimes you get criticized. Oh, he gets his information from television. Mm-hmm. Well, the people that write the greatest of all papers are always on television, also. Good point. But I do watch this one right here, and he's got a thing called. We can learn from our Sean. He's got a thing called the penny plan. It's a very simple plan. Right?
Want me to tell it?
Yeah, go ahead.
About 1 cent out of every dollar every year for 6 years, you balance the budget. No more increases built in the government spending. They've got to live within their means. Amazing.
Except the military.
You would not cut you would increase spending on the military.
I would increase on the military, but I'd take more than a penny out of certain deal.
What do we do? Every time you look at the equation, all right, you got discretionary spending, and then we have Social Security and Medicare, the third rail. Right. Would you consider raising the retirement age? Would you consider maybe getting rid of cost of living benefits?
I am going to hold this the way it is. I'll tell you what. We're going to make our country so rich. It's going to be so good. We're going to make it good again. We're going to make it vibrant again. We had no growth in the last 2 quarters, essentially no growth. It's unheard of. If China gets down to 7%, it's like they're going to have a national catastrophe. We have nothing. We have nothing left. We've been stripped. If we get our growth up to 4% or 5%, then I think that's absolutely doable. We can pay for everything. We can have plenty of money left over for infrastructure, you know, the infrastructure of our country. And it's also great jobs. But the roads, the airports, the hospitals, the tunnels, the bridges. I mean,
you don't think we'll have to cut entitlements?
I don't want to cut entitlements, no.
So let me then, I don't want to cut entitlements. There's 2 issues that you have discussed with me in detail. I want maybe if you can explain to this audience. The money that corporations have overseas, trillions of dollars.
Corporate inversions.
And you talk about corporate inversions, repatriating the money, and energy independence and the number of jobs that will be created doing that.
Exactly. Well, look, we spend a tremendous amount of money on energy in the sense that we're protecting all of these people that don't like us too much, folks. And I'll give you an example. Saudi Arabia, no problems with Saudi Arabia. They were, before the prices went down, they were making, a year ago, they were making $1 billion a day. $1 billion a day. Money that, like, nobody's ever seen. We protect them for peanuts, for practically nothing. And we spent a tremendous amount of money. South Korea, when you want a television set, we go to South LG, Samsung. They're all made in South Korea. It's a monster in terms of economic. That goes with air conditioning, goes with so many different things. Even ships coming out of South Korea. You look at China. You look at so many different, you know that we actually have it's not a lot anymore, but we actually subsidize China. We give them subsidies for certain things. You've seen that too. It's sort of a little bit of a scandal. It's not a huge amount of money, but it's still money. We're subsidizing things in China. But Japan, we protect Japan. Now, Japan's interesting because we protect them. If we're attacked, they don't have to do anything. If somebody attacks Japan, we end up in World War III. We have to go and fight for Japan, but they don't have to fight for us. I mean, this is the way it is. Germany, we take care of Germany. We protect Germany. Now, the money we spend on our military is massive, and everyone says we spend 10 times more money than everybody else, but we're spending it protecting other nations. And many of those nations are very rich. They got to pay up. We want their help. They got to pay up. Okay? Let me ask this.
I don't think there's a person in this crowd that isn't worried about their health care.
Yeah.
We have Obamacare.
Right.
You said, I think we came to the right town.
The healthcare savings accounts is something that, I know you like it, but yeah, we could have Romney Care, right? Who said that? Yeah. See how that's worked out in Massachusetts, right? That's been a beauty. Look, we have, you have concepts, you have different concepts of healthcare, but one thing, we don't have any competition. There's no competition.
Hi, you guys on Meerkat. I see all 14 of you guys.
And the healthcare
Make sure that you guys tune in.
I'll tell you something. So inexpensive for the people, so inexpensive for the country.
Debating.
Obamacare is going to destroy. You talk about budget. In 17, here's the good news. It explodes unless the Republicans give them more money. They gave them more money in this last budget to keep it going. It's going to implode. It's always, you mentioned that I'm going to be president when it implodes. I'm going to get the blame when Obamacare implodes. Not good.
But you'll replace it with health savings accounts, with competition and portability.
Absolutely.
You can take it job to job.
You can take it from place to place.
And I could buy, if I wanted to buy health insurance here in North Carolina, even though I'm stuck in New York where I pay an unreal rate of taxes, I'd be able to do that.
Can do that, and you can move around, and it's sort of like ownership. It's almost like ownership, and it also gets people to negotiate with their people. Like, you see a doctor, you can negotiate with them because you don't want to use too much of your money. I mean, it's really an asset. Right now, we have plans that are so out of control, and Obamacare is out of control. The cost of Obamacare by 2017 will be astronomical. When you see, to the country will be astronomical. And by the way, the premiums are going up 25, 35, 45%. People, is that correct, right? More. People are absolutely getting it. So it won't exist in 2017.
All right, you guys. So it looks like they are about to start. The HSN chair speaks is going to be talking right now. So let's go ahead and listen in.
And their primary support teams do want that, but for very different reasons. John Kasich's team says, we don't change. We've always been consistent. That's how we got where we are right now, and we're building, so they want it to stay the same way. The CRUZ campaign is saying they want a tone shift, but it's because they believe that especially tonight, this could be their night, that on points of contrast of policy, Ted Cruz can get the momentum that he needs. From the Rubio camp, more of a negative influence. They do not believe it worked for them the last time. They're laying off some of the recent displays in the elections, the different cycle that they're in right now as a function of that. So they want Marco Rubio to get back to what they believe is his strongest suit, staying positive. Trump's supporter said something interesting. He wants to be presidential, but he said, don't forget who we're talking about. You mess with the bull, you get the horns.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. I know Chris is going to be on the stage right after the debate ends to talk with the candidates. We look forward to that. Gloria, John, let's bring them back in here.
And the debate, the hall is pretty much filled up. Seems pretty much everybody is in place. There's a lot of anticipation. Certainly. Anything else we should watch for?
Well, I think we all know CRUZ is going to punch up. You know, the question is whether Trump is going to punch it all and punch down to Kasich. And I heard Phil saying that the Kasich people are going to have the same game plan. Well, if they're attacked, as Trump has been attacking him as being an absentee governor, others have attacked him as being a tax raiser, I think he has to fight back if he wants to win the state of Ohio and continue on in this race.
He's been offered the chance a number of times in past debates to directly contradict or attack Donald Trump. He hasn't chosen to do it. We'll see what happens tonight if he is attacked by Trump. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the anticipation building, the chairman of the Republican National Committee will be talking to the audience and telling people to sit down right now. And then it's the candidate's turn. We're just moments away from the start of the Republican presidential debate live from the University of Miami. We'll be right back.
All right, you guys. So,
you work hard, you do the best you can, and then the outcome that's up to the vote.
The anticipation is building up when it comes to the debate. So, usually what we do before the debate starts is ask if we could ask one question for each candidate. If we were there, what would it be? So, let's start with Wes, being as he is a proponent for the Republicans right now. What one question would you ask each one of the candidates that are going to be speaking tonight?
Ask Marco, why you still here?
Okay. And Trump, what would you ask him? And not for his autograph, okay?
No, he'll just get it to me. I asked Trump for a position on his campaign squad.
Okay. And do you want to maybe find out about his policies or have any questions about what you've read about his policies, or you agree with everything he says?
I want to know if he'll initiate that credit for alternative energy.
And what about CRUZ?
Ooh, no, I'm scared to ask him any questions.
Why? What do you think he's gonna shoot you or something?
Nah, he'll just tell me some bogus ass bullshit.
And poor little Kasich. What about Kasich? Because I know nobody really, the little engine that could. What do you think about him? What would you ask him? Well, you forgot who that is.
I'll ask him, why don't you just retire?
All right. So Wes, one of our users on DINtv.com, has stated all the questions that he would ask each candidate. So Periscopers and Meerkat peeps, if you guys want to actually ask a question, come to DINtv.com and let's hear it. We want to definitely hear what you guys have to say. If I had to ask a question, the first question for Rubio would be, why are you not trying to fix your family at this point, being as the huge scandal with you sleeping with one of your lobbyists that's in your campaign? I'm surprised none of the candidates have even brought that up. But Trump, I would ask him, I don't know what I would ask Trump, honestly.
Don't be scared. No, you talk all that shit.
The thing is, I don't care enough about him to, I don't know, Trump just, to me, just...
Okay, the question is, how he going to, convince other countries to pay, as he just said in the town hall that we have seen the video, how he going to convince someone to pay because, okay, American military is now providing some protection, in Qatar, in somewhere, but those really rich countries, and I agree with him that it's just not a point. They have to take care of themselves. They have enough money for that. And the question is how he going to convince, how it may be possible.
I got an idea. I mean, because I kind of got an idea what I would do at least. What makes the most sense to me.
For instance, yes,
because he said it when he alluded to it. He said we protect them for nothing. So we have an advantage there. We're doing something for them. So let's remove our services if they refuse to pay. Just like if you would lose your car if you don't pay on it. So let's remove our services. So I'm pretty sure a lot of troops might be coming home.
Of course, they will refuse, I think, or at least try to negotiate. Yes.
I feel like the moment if Trump wins the presidency and he puts his hand on the Bible, the whole like White House is just gonna blow up, and everything's just gonna be crazy. That's exactly what's gonna happen if Trump comes into office. But hopefully, these questions that they do ask these candidates are as intense as last night.
So Kevin, you pro Cruz, you Cruz supporter.
I am
in Republican like paradigm.
okay. If I had to choose one of the candidates, it would. Oh my gosh. Probably Trump.
Okay, closest to Bernie.
Huh?
Who's the closest to Bernie?
Who? Ted Cruz?
Trump.
Yeah. In the sense of just like getting rid of the establishment. Yeah, for sure. But let's go ahead and see what this guy's saying. He's the chair of RNC. So let's see what Mr. has
Who
to
is
say.
going to be the nominee that joins the Republican National Committee, the Republican Party, all of you, the conservatives, the Tea Party, our entire wonderful group of people that are going to come together and unify in Cleveland and get behind that nominee. That's what we do as Republicans. Can you at least agree with me, without question, that any one of these four gentlemen would be a world better than Hillary Clinton or a socialist and Bernie Sanders? We have something to fight for. We're in a battle for freedom in this country. It's the same battle that founded this country. The same battle that James Madison reaffirmed in the Bill of Rights. The same battle that founded our party. And here we are again, together. And that's where we're going to end up, together. So
all right, you guys. So we're gonna do a quick introduction on our co-host here, Kayla. She's gonna go.
Hey guys.
She's going to be. We're gonna be discussing the debates tonight.
Who do we have here tonight?
We have Wes, we have Nectar, and then we have a couple people that are gonna be joining us.
Oh my god, I love Wes.
Yeah, Wes never left. He's been
I know,
a strong
I-
supporter.
I know. I took like a week off, and I feel like it was a week and a half. If it's
Girl, you know life be like that sometimes.
a month. No, not a month. That was here like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're preparing for a lot of new stuff that's coming
Speaking
up.
about news, so earlier today I had to write a story on Ted Cruz. So apparently, at his headquarters in Houston, I believe it is, they had meanwhile he's preparing for this debate in Miami. They found a suspicious substance in his office. So there's planes going around. Like this is like a big. They're trying to figure it out right now, like what it is.
Are they trying to paint it as like some heroic hero? Like
I think it's
trying to be assassinated.
I think it's like almost like an anthrax kind of a thing.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
To be poisoned, like no.
Well, they don't know what the substance is, but they detected it coming straight. And there's other offices in this building, mind you, but they detected it coming straight from his office. So, like I said, they have like aerial views, like planes going by, like fire, like it's crazy.
Is he that desperate for attention that he's trying to make himself seem more important than he is? Nobody's trying to assassinate Ted Cruz, really.
Yeah, like I don't really
He's
get
the
it,
last hope. Come on, he's the last hope. The entire grand old party.
Sure, actually, yeah. So
Mitt Romney in the wings.
So I know this just started at 8, right? So what have I missed so far?
Oh, you missed that our doctor, surgeon, he endorsed Trump, of course. That women a little bit, Carly Florina, she endorsed Cruz.
Yes, everyone's endorsing Cruz.
Yes.
That seems to be the trend.
Carly just endorsed Trump. So they tried to negotiate apparently some vice president's position, apparently who Christie with his face or Carson or maybe someone else. So it's like a speculation now about this, a lot of speculation.
I thought so you say Kasich, if that's even how you pronounce it right, is endorsing Trump. I thought he was endorsing Cruz as well. No?
Ben Carson endorsed Trump.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I feel. Oh my gosh.
Are we doing both on here?
I would be embarrassed. Like if I was a candidate and then like I ended up losing and then having to like endorse the person I was like running against.
You just fight it. Yes. Yes, exactly.
It's awkward. It's so like even Carson, like I would just take my loss and just go.
You don't think like you would be like, hey, I know I'm not in the running anymore, but if we're gonna pick a president, like this is who. Do they make money? Like how does that work? It's just people.
I want to monetize my supporters. I want to monetize it.
Like if they actually one of them endorsed Bernie. If Carson was like, I'm endorsing Bernie Sanders, everything, but then he would hurt his own position though.
I saw the funniest Bernie video the other day, and I had to figure out.
If you don't mind us asking, who are you in the lines for, like right now? Like who's on your radar?
I'm not endorsing anyone until this. I don't want to influence anyone. Not Trump, obviously.
Okay, well, you need to make your mind because our viewers will like line up after your opinion.
You know what?
They will see like.
Here's my opinion. My opinion is, I feel, and if my opinion,
Hillary, I feel it.
No, yeah, well, Hillary. Honestly, if anyone, probably Hillary. To be honest.
I told you guys, I know people. Like you just have to say one word, and I know your life.
It's so true. Okay, but I always thought I would go for a Republican, but I mean,
you kind of are actually.
I can't with these.
You kind of are voting for a Republican, you know.
What about you, Wes? What are your thoughts? And how do I get this blab working? What's the password?
I'm only here for Trump.
You're here for Trump?
That's it. I'm just here to see if he self-destructs tonight. If not, we got another week.
I don't think Trump is gonna. Hi, Kevin. Thank you so much for joining us. I love your name. Come to Periscope at come to DINtv.com. Yeah. We are streaming the Republican debate tonight, and it's going to be really exciting.
Mess home,
basically. So,
no, we are proud Republicans, please.
Yeah, we are proud. Like, can they at least make their own party proud at this point? Like, maybe we'll get an intellectual conversation going tonight.
Why can't this? Oh. There we go.
Just click now.
I want to see somebody answer a question without inciting somebody else.
So, are you implying that the other candidates try to steer their questions towards a Trump campaign type of thing? Like mentioning that?
I'm pretty sure Trump does it too.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see everybody answer a question without informing nobody else.
I just want to see like actual empathy. Like I want them to talk about the people and give me that Bernie feel. Like you care about me. Like you actually want to help me, and not just tell me you're gonna build a wall for me. Like
who is it? It's Rubio that wants like Hispanics, right? Mm-hmm. Wait, what is that sound I'm hearing? I hear an echo.
Amy, hello. I don't hear it anymore.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
How interesting. I hear it.
Hold on. I think it's correct. No, it's not.
Oh, is it back on?
It's Wes. Hold on a second. It's back on. Let me put it back in.
What is that?
Oh my god. Okay. So the sound is gone on DIN Live. There's no sound coming from it.
On the campus of the University of Miami, this is the CNN Republican presidential debate.
Go Bernie!
Around the world.
Go Miami!
I'm Jake Tapper. In just 5 days, voters will go to the polls here in this state as well as in Ohio, Illinois, North Carolina, and Missouri. The race for the Republican nomination for president could change dramatically. Florida and Ohio each have a large number of delegates at stake, and they award all of them to the candidate who wins. They're winner-take-all states. That's the first time that will happen in this primary season, and this is the last debate before that critical round of voting. We hope tonight the candidates will give the voters specifics on their visions for America. So now, let's welcome the candidates. Ohio Governor John Kasich.
Kasich has no chance.
Ask them to again. Senator Ted Cruz.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today on DINtv.com.
Yes, businessman Donald Trump.
Interacting, discussing all the things politics tonight. So you guys should definitely log in and come interact. If you just want to watch, continue watching. But when you want to put your input in,
Senator Marco
TV
Rubio,
and type or show your kids. So excited?
I'm excited for this. Right now, we're watching it right now. So for
Yeah, go Trump, go Trump, love the United States.
Here's go Trump.
Right.
Before we begin this evening, we want to remember former First Lady Nancy Reagan, who passed away this week. Her funeral will be held tomorrow, and we would like to take a moment of silence to remember Nancy Reagan.
That Botox on fleek, though.
Hottest president in 3, 2, 1.
Donald Trump looks scary.
Oh my God! You just said Donald Trump. I said hottest president in 3, 2, 1. And you said Donald Trump looks.
Oh my God, he might be the president.
Now, please rise for our national anthem performed by the Frost Singers from the University of Miami.
FDR.
National anthem is too long.
No, wrong one. Wait, wrong one. Wait.
You mean John Kennedy?
Yeah, that's who it was. I take that back.
What so proudly we hailed the twilight's last gleam.
So hot.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars.
We're gonna ask everyone, if you have headphones, please put them on. If not, try to find some. Thank you.
As we watch, we're so gallantly streaming.
To them,
And the rockets red, the bombs bursting in air, they bruised through the night, that our flag was still there. To save us that star-spangled banner yet wave.
Should have sang Trap Queen. Okay, girl, you didn't too much.
And the home of the brave.
The tribes to the Frost Singers from the University of Miami. Candidates, you can now take your positions behind the podiums while I briefly explain the rules. As moderator, I will attempt to guide the discussion, asking questions and follow-ups. Joining me in the questioning this evening will be Washington Times reporter Stephen Dinan, CNN chief political correspondent Dana Bash, and Salem Radio's Hugh Hewitt. Candidates, you will have 1 minute and 15 seconds to answer each question and 45 seconds to respond to follow-ups or rebuttals if your name is invoked. That's longer than you've had in previous debates. Timing lights will be visible. Those lights will warn you when time is up. And as you requested, a bell will also sound like this.
They want
to know that each of you wants to debate these important issues, but please wait until you are called upon, and please do not talk over one another. These are the rules to which all of you agreed. Our goal this evening is a serious debate on the issues. It's time now for opening statements. You'll each have 30 seconds. Governor Kasich, we will start with you.
Well, thank you. You know, I look in the faces of people all across this country, and I know they want to be hopeful, and many are hopeful. Look, I can take conservative policies to the White House, to Washington, to restore the strength of our economy, but I also want to transfer power, money, and influence to where you live, because I believe the strength in this country rests in the neighborhoods, the families, the communities, and our states. And I believe it's a new partnership, a partnership that can allow us to restore the spirit of America and strengthen America for the best century we've ever had. Thank you.
Senator Rubio, every election is important. I believe this is the most important election in a generation.
Because you need
Because what's at stake in this election is not simply the ability to be in charge of what's at stake is our identity as a nation and as a people. For over 2 centuries, America has been an exceptional nation.
He's cute, but
and now the time has come for this generation to do what it must do to keep it that way. If we make the right choice in this election, Our children are going to be the freest and most prosperous Americans that have ever lived. And the 21st century is going to be a new American century.
Florida welcomed my father to America.
He looks like
He stepped off the ferry boat from Cuba onto Key West.
I don't like him.
He was 18. He was filled with hopes and dreams, and yet he was in the freest land on the face of the earth. This election, this debate is not about insults. It's not about attacks. It's not about any of the individuals on this stage. This election is about you and your children. It's about the freedom America has always had, and making sure that that freedom is there for the next generation, that we stop Washington from standing in the way of the hardworking taxpayers of America.
Mr. Trump.
One of the biggest political events anywhere in the world is happening right now with the Republican Party. Millions and millions of people are going out to the polls and they're voting. They're voting out of enthusiasm. They're voting out of love. Some of these people, frankly, have never voted before. 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old, never voted before. We're taking people from the Democrat Party. We're taking people as independents, and they're all coming out, and the whole world is talking about it. It's very exciting. I think, frankly, the Republican establishment, or whatever you want to call it, should embrace what's happening. We're having millions of extra people join. We are going to beat the Democrats. We are going to beat Hillary or whoever it may be, and we're going to beat them soundly.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's begin with jobs and the economy, which Republican voters say is the most important issue to them in this election. There have been some real differences expressed on this stage on whether trade deals have been good for the American worker. One of Mr. Trump, the frontrunner's signature issues, is ending what he calls disastrous trade deals in order to bring jobs back to America. Governor Kasich, I'd like to start with you. You've been a strong advocate for these trade deals over the years. Critics say these deals are great for corporate America's bottom line, but have cost the U.S. at least 1 million jobs. How do you respond to the criticism that you've been going to boardrooms at the expense of the American middle class?
Jake, I grew up in a blue-collar family, and simple fact of the matter is that, of course, we're sensitive about trade. 1 out of 5 Americans work in a job connected to trade. 38 million Americans are connected to it. But my position has always been we want to have free trade, but fair trade. And I've been arguing all along that it is absolutely critical that when other countries break.
Who is belching, burping, stretching? Like,
kind of interrupt the broadcast.
Make those agreements. Yeah. We don't turn the problem.
What's going on?
I don't know. It's the feed. I'm gonna look for one on YouTube. See if I can find.
There's a. Oh, it's CNN tonight.
Assess over to some international bureaucrat who comes back a couple years later and says, "Oh, America was right, and people are out of work." The fact of the matter is we have to have an expedited process. When people cheat, when countries cheat and they take advantage of us, we need to blow the whistle. And as President of the United States, I absolutely will blow the whistle and begin to stand up for the American worker. But we don't want to lock the doors and pull down the blinds and leave the world, because frankly, if we do that, prices will go up, people will buy less, other people will be out of work, and we don't want to see that happen.
The inevitable loss of U.S. jobs.
No, I support free trade deals that are good for America. We're 5% of the world's population. If all we do is sell things to each other, we can only sell to 5% of the people on Earth. We have to have access to the hundreds of millions of people in the world today who can afford to buy things. The problem is we're a low tariff country. To import something into the United States is not very expensive. But many of these countries we can't export to because their tariffs are too high. And so I'm in favor of deals that allow us to bring down those tariffs so that America can sell things to all these people around the world. There are good trade deals and there are bad ones. So for example, here in Florida, we have benefited greatly from the free trade deal with Colombia.
It's allowed flower exporters to come into the United States, but it's created jobs for hundreds of people who are now delivering those flowers and working in that industry. We have a surplus with Colombia.
Hundreds.
On the other hand, you've seen trade deals like in Mexico that have been less than promising in some aspects, better in others. Bottom line is, I believe that America, if given access to foreign markets, our workers are the most productive in the world, our people are the most innovative on this planet. If it is a free and fair trade deal, we can compete against anyone in the world, and we need to in the 21st century.
Senator Cruz, you were a supporter of the Pacific trade deal, but after taking some heat from conservatives, you changed your position. Why should these voters who don't like these trade deals trust that you will fight for them all the time and not just in election years?
Actually, that's incorrect. There are two different agreements. There's TPA and TPP. I oppose TPP and have always opposed TPP, which is what you asked about. And when it comes to trade, look, free trade, when we open up foreign markets, helps Americans, but we're getting killed in international trade right now. And we're getting killed because we have an administration that doesn't look out for American workers, and jobs are going overseas. We're driving jobs overseas. And the people who are losing out are manufacturing jobs, or the steel industry, or the auto industry. But I'll tell you who else is going to be losing out, which is the service industry. This Obama administration is negotiating the Trade and Services Agreement, which is another treaty to allow services to come in and take jobs from Americans as well. And you got to understand, trade and immigration are interwoven, and they're hurting the working men and women of this country. So the question is, what's the solution? It's easy to talk about the problems, but do you have a solution to fix it? I think the solution is several things. Number one, we need to negotiate trade deals protecting American workers first, not the corporate boardroom. Number two, we need to lift the regulations on American businesses here so we see jobs coming back. And number three, we need a tax plan like the tax plan I've introduced that will not tax exports and that will tax imports, and that will bring millions of high-paying jobs back to America.
Let's talk more about how American jobs are impacted by foreign workers. Let's go to Stephen Dinan of the Washington Times. Stephen.
Senator Rubio, in late 2014, Disney laid off 250 tech workers in Orlando, replacing many of them with foreign workers. Some of the Americans even had to train their own replacements. You support increasing the H-1B visa program that made it possible to bring in these foreign workers. Doesn't this program take jobs away from Americans?
If it's being abused the way Disney did, understand that program, it is illegal now under that program to use it to replace American workers. Under that program, you have to prove not only that you're not replacing Americans, but that you've tried to hire Americans. And if a company is caught abusing that process, they should never be allowed to use it again. The second problem with the current structure of the program that people perhaps don't understand is a lot of these companies are not directly hiring employees from abroad. They are hiring a consulting company like Tata, for example, out of India. That company then hoards up all of these visas. They hire workers. You hire the Disney or some other company hires this company. What they're basically doing is they are insourcing and outsourcing this. They are bringing in workers from abroad that are not direct employees of a Disney or someone else. They're employees of this consulting business. And what I argue is that no consulting business such as that should be allowed to hoard up all of these visas, that the visa should only be available for companies to use directly to hire workers, and that we should be stricter in how we enforce it. It is illegal now. It is a violation of the law now to use that program to replace Americans. And if a company is caught doing that, whether it be Disney or anyone else, they should be barred from using the program in the future.
Senator Rubio, real quick follow-up on this. You've, in the context of illegal immigration, you've called for basically putting off any legalization process until we get the border secured. Correct. Why not call for a pause on H-1Bs until those abuses you've talked about are solved?
Well, I think I'd be open to it if it takes a pause, but I don't think it takes a pause to enforce the actual law. What they're doing is, if they are in fact using that program to replace an American, if there's an American working and they bring someone from another country using H-1B to replace their direct job, that is in violation of the law. What I'm explaining to you is what they're doing now is what they're doing is they're eliminating the job, they're outsourcing the entire tech division to a consulting company. They're making the argument that we didn't replace you, we just replaced the whole unit by hiring a company to do it instead. And that company that they're hiring is bringing their workers from abroad. It is a loophole they have figured out that we need to close so they can no longer continue to do it that way.
Governor Kasich, I want to come to you next. Mr. Trump says that legal immigration is producing, quote, lower wages and higher unemployment for U.S. workers. he's calling for a pause on green cards issued to foreign workers. Wouldn't that help workers in the U.S.?
Well, look, I believe in immigration, but it has to be controlled. The simple fact of the matter is I wouldn't be standing here. I'd be, maybe running for president of Croatia if we didn't have immigration. Immigration is something that brings youth and vibrance and energy to our country. But we clearly have to control our borders. We can't have people just walking in.
Debates is everything is just so
like homes, and the country has to be able to lock its doors as well. So I have a comprehensive plan to deal with this problem of immigration. I would say we have to absolutely finish the wall and guard the border. And if anybody were to come in after that, they're going to have to go back. No excuses, because we can't continue this problem. I think we ought to have a guest worker program where people come in, work, and go home. And I think at the same time, for the 11.5 million who are here, then in my view, if they have not committed a crime since they've been here, they get a path to legalization, not the citizenship. I believe that program can pass the Congress in the first 100 days. But let's not lose sight of the fact that the whole key to the future of America is strong economic growth with common sense regulation, lower taxes, and a balanced budget. We can have a rising tide that lifts all the workers in America, all the people who are citizens of America, if you'll just follow the formula that works that I used in Washington, and guess what? I've used in Ohio to grow over 400 private sector jobs since I've been governor.
Wow. Mr. Trump, I do want to come to you. Will you also, in your answer, address how long you think that pause would be and what that pause would look like?
Well, first of all, I think, and I know the H-1B very well, and it's something that I frankly use, and we shouldn't have it. Very, very bad for workers. And I think it's very important to say. Well, I'm a businessman, and I have to do what I have to do, and it's sitting there waiting for you, but it's very bad. It's very bad for business in terms of, it's very bad for our workers, and it's unfair for our workers, and we should end it.
Straight to the point.
Very importantly, the Disney workers endorsed me, as you probably read, and I got a full endorsement because they're the ones that said, and they had a news conference, and they said he's the only one that's going to be able to fix it, because it is a mess. I think for a period of a year to 2 years, we have to look back and we have to see,
calm
just
right
to answer
now.
the second part of your question, where we are, where we stand, what's going on. We have to sort of take a strong, good, hard look and come up with plans that work. And we're rushing into things, and we're leading with the chin. We're leading with people that don't know what they're doing in terms of our leadership. I would say a minimum of 1 year, maybe 2 years.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. Senator Cruz, I want to bring you in very quickly on this. The United States averages about 1 million new permanent legal immigrants a year and hundreds of thousands more guest workers. What should the right level be?
Well, we need to redefine our legal immigration system so that it meets the needs of the American economy. Right now, we're bringing in far too many low-skilled workers. What that is doing is driving down the wages of hard-working Americans. Our system isn't working, and then on top of that, we've got a system that is allowing in millions of people to be here illegally. And the answer to that, I've laid out a very, very detailed immigration plan on my website. We're going to build a wall, triple the Border Patrol.
The wall.
We're going to end sanctuary cities. Let me tell you how we're going to do that. We're going to cut off federal taxpayer funds to any city that defies federal immigration. We're going to end welfare benefits for anyone who is here illegally.
We're going to build a fence.
And the thing to understand, Stephen, we can solve these problems. It's not that we don't know how to do it. It's that we're lacking the political will. Neither of the parties in Washington wants to do this. The Democrats support illegal immigration because they view those illegal immigrants as potential voters, and far too many of the Republicans are doing the bidding of Wall Street and the special interest, and they view it as cheap labor. We need instead leadership that works for the working men and women of this country. We need an immigration system that takes care of the jobs of the working men and women of this country.
Senator Rubio, did you want to weigh in?
Well, I would add, when you talk about the millions of green cards that are coming in, those are actually workers at all. They're just coming in primarily based on family connection. Let me tell you, by the time my parents came in 1956, I acknowledge that my parents came to the U.S. on a family basis. The problem is nothing looks like it did 60 years ago. The 21st century economy simply is not creating enough jobs for people that don't have skills. When my parents came, they had a very limited education. My father stopped going to school when he was 9 years old because his mother died, and he had to work.
He just
and he would work the next 70 years of his life.
and never go back to school. And I'm grateful every day that America welcomed them. But today, in the 21st century, 60 years later, finding jobs when you don't have skills is very difficult. We need to move to a merit-based system of immigration, not just on H-1B, particularly on green cards. The primary criteria for bringing someone from abroad in the 21st century should be, what skills do you have? What business are you going to open? What investment are you going to make? What job are you going to be able to do when you arrive in the United States?
Amen.
Education obviously plays a large role when it comes to jobs in the economy. The United States has long been falling behind others in the industrialized world. American students currently rank 27th out of 34 countries in math and 17th in reading. Mr. Trump, you've called the education standards known as Common Core a disaster. What are your specific objections to Common Core?
Education through Washington, D.C. I don't want that. I want local education. I want the parents, and I want all of the teachers, and I want everybody to get together around the school and to make education great. And it was very interesting. I was with Dr. Ben Carson today, who's endorsing me, by the way, tomorrow morning. And we spoke for over an hour on education, and he has such a great handle on it. He wants competitive schools. He wants a lot of different things that are terrific, including charter schools, by the way, that the unions are fighting like crazy, that charter schools work, and they work very well. So there are a lot of things, but I'm going to have Ben very much involved with education, something that really is an expertise of his.
Okay, but just to clarify, the Common Core standards were developed by the states. Right. States and localities voluntarily adopt them, and they come up with their own curricula to meet those standards. So when you say education by Washington, D.C., what do you mean?
You're right, Jack, but it's been taken over by the federal government. It was originally supposed to be that way, and it certainly sounds better that way, but it's all been taken over now by the bureaucrats in Washington, and they are not interested in what's happening in Miami or in Florida in many cases. Now, in some cases they would be, but in many cases they're more interested in their paycheck and the big bureaucracy than they are taking care of the children.
Governor Kasich, you have called opposition to Common Core hysteria. What is your response to grassroots conservatives who do not agree with you?
Well, look, all I'm in favor of in Ohio is high standards. First of all, let me tell you, I would take 125 federal. All
right, guys, in the next 2 minutes, we're going to go ahead and discuss some of the points that the candidates have covered so far. I've been working on this for many, many years. So have your points
Secondly,
ready.
Jake, in our state, the state school board sets the standards, and we want high standards because we've not always had high standards, unfortunately. They set the standards, and the local school boards develop the curriculum. Not only did we have that in the law, we reasserted it in the law, and we also want parental advisors in the local school district so that, in fact, frankly, education has to be run at the school board level with a little guidance from the state. Now, on top of that, you want to talk about the 21st century and what we need to do with our kids. We need to start connecting them to the real world. We need to be training them for the jobs of the 21st century, not the jobs of 20 years ago. We need vocational education starting.
Oh, oops.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Oh, well, there we go. I meant to do that, guys.
Wait, that's what you posted in the chat.
Yeah. That's why I took it off.
Okay, it's fine.
It's because I'm not in the moderator page.
All right, so you guys, so far they've covered a lot of things.
Okay, so this is one thing I just always sticks out to me. I feel like they will say whatever they can say to win, the target audience's points, just to get where they want to go. That's what I hate about. I don't hate about politics, but it's true. I mean, they just everything me and Kim were saying, everything they say is so buttered, and it's like, well, I said that, but like this, it's just a little, I don't know.
Exactly. Like for me, some of the points that really struck out to me so far have been the loss of jobs, and I think they made actually a really good point when it comes to technology and how schools nowadays they teach you how to work for the 19th, 20th century, whereas our economic and our business structure right now is very technology based, and I see that all around me where there's people that want to work but they're not able to because they don't have the skill set for computers or don't know how to use a computer or the internet or anything like that.
Kevin, tell me please, at least Common Core, it's not good, I have to say in advance, but what to replace it with? What can be in exchange? Nobody proposes anything.
That's the thing. I feel like we're getting little by little, we're getting a little bit more information from the candidates as the debates roll on. As of right now, they've only mentioned that they want to restructure the school system and leave it to the state. But what is their idea of education? That's what we want to know right now. We want to know what's their idea of education.
Like you mean their system of like going about it rather than just the money behind it.
Definitely. So, Wes, what have you taken so far since the debates have started?
Wes.
Is Wes here? He's probably just watching the debate. Hello? Nectar?
He might be.
Have you been tuning into the debates?
What about No. DJ Vega?
He just got in here like 2 seconds ago.
Have you been watching the debates tonight?
Have you been watching the debates tonight, DJ Vega?
I'll bet.
Okay. All right. So everyone.
Anyways, you know what I was really surprised on? Actually, you know what? I never really know how people with like, because okay, before I start, Marco Rubio. Do you know what his ethnic background is? Exactly?
I don't know, but he looks kind of hot tonight.
So he's from Miami, right? Or Florida, or is it Miami exactly?
I can look that up, but what about him?
I know. So you know, like the big thing is he's from here, so he's trying to like win over the Hispanic. Like he really thinks he's gonna, get it tonight. But he said that thing about immigration, where I was actually kind of surprised because I feel like
he's Cuban.
He's Cuban. Okay. So he basically said that, everyone, there should set a higher standard. We should have certain requirements for when you come into the United States, and you should, it's like kind of like, what do you bring to the table? And I mean, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree, but I was surprised because just because I know, like, you're in Miami right now, everyone is foreign. Like, I'm a minority. Like,
people know what they're escaping from. You get what I'm saying? They know where they're coming from. So it's like, I think there should be some type of vetting or something.
He would be like, bring your family. Like, I don't know what, not really, but I feel like he would be, he'd say something a little bit different. So I guess that for me, just knowing that you're in Miami, like, it struck me a little bit like, wow, good for you, like, for holding your grounds. And
that's one of the topics that we actually covered, because we were like, oh, are they going to mention the wall, being as, this is a very Caribbean, like, Hispanic state. There's a lot of islanders here, so surprisingly he still has the minority vote here, so people are maybe resonating with a lot what he has to say. Usually when people come to America, they're escaping from something, so usually, I mean, maybe they don't want some of the people that are coming in. I honestly, the wall idea, I don't see there being an issue, because if you put like requirements as to who's coming in, then I don't see an issue with that.
Yeah.
You don't want a murderer to come into your place.
Exactly.
So definitely in that aspect, I agree. But I don't know. I just think his delivery of that statement just threw people off to the fact. Even though it sounds like a good idea, it's just some people just were thrown off by it. Like a wall, like you're trying to separate people. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think people are mistaking banning. Like, they think wall, they think ban.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think? Wes, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So far, we've been watching the debates. What has caught your eye?
I don't know, they're talking about Social Security right now. It's pretty interesting, but
okay, let me see here.
I expected what I got.
I think it's a lot more intricate.
I can tell you, CRUZ has got a new line. It's easy to talk about the problems, but let's discuss the solutions. That's his new punchline.
Yeah, and you mentioned the wall too. It sounded very Trumpy. Hold on. All right, so let me pull this up.
Deficits to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, which is rampant in this country. Rampant. Totally rampant. And it's my absolute intention to leave Social Security the way it is, not increase the age, and to leave it as is. You have 22 years. You have a long time to go. It's not long in terms of what we're talking about, but it's still a long time to go. And I want to leave Social Security as is. I want to make our country rich again so we can afford it. I want to bring back our jobs. I want to do things that will that will bring back GDP. I mean, as an example, GDP was zero, essentially, for the last 2 quarters. If that ever happened in China, you would have had had a depression like nobody's ever seen before. They go down to 7%, 8%, and it's a national tragedy. We're at zero. We're not doing anything. We've lost our jobs. We've lost everything. We're losing everything. Our jobs are gone. Our businesses are being taken out of the country. I want to make America great again, and I want to leave Social Security as is. We're going to get rid of waste, fraud, abuse, and bring back business.
Senator Rubio, I know you want to get in. Hang on one second. I just want to follow up with Mr. Trump. You're talking about waste, fraud, and abuse, but an independent bipartisan organization, the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, says improper payments, like you're talking about, that would only save about $3 billion, but it would take $150 billion to make Social Security solvent. So how would you find that under $147
Because they don't cover
billion?
most of the subjects. We're the policemen of the world. We take care of the entire world. We're going to have a stronger military, much stronger. Our military is depleted, but we take care of Germany. We take care of Saudi Arabia. We take care of Japan. We take care of South Korea. Every time this maniac from North Korea does anything, we immediately send our ships. We get virtually nothing. We have 28,000 soldiers on the line on the border between North and South Korea. We have so many places. Saudi Arabia was making $1 billion a day, and we were getting virtually nothing to protect them. We are going to be in a different world. We're going to negotiate real deals now, and we're going to bring the wealth back to our country. We owe $19 trillion. We're going to bring wealth back to our country.
Senator Rubio, will that be enough to save Social Security?
No, and I think you've outlined why. The numbers don't add up. You know, when I ran for the Senate in 2010, I came out one day and said, we're going to have to make changes to Social Security. And everyone said, that's the end of your campaign. In Florida, you can't talk about that. But people know that it's the truth here in Florida. Fraud is not enough. Let's wipe out the fraud. But as you said, it won't add up. You already gave those numbers. The second point is on foreign aid. I hear that all the time as well. I'm against any sort of wasting of money on foreign aid, but it's less than 1% of our federal budget. The numbers don't add up. The bottom line is we can't just continue to tiptoe around this and throw out things like I'm going to get it for fraud and abuse. Let's get rid of fraud. Let's get rid of abuse. Let's be more careful about how we spend foreign aid. But you still have hundreds of billions of dollars of deficit that you're going to have to make up. And here's the thing. If we do not do it, we will have a debt crisis, not to mention a crisis in Social Security and Medicare. Both parties have taken far too long to deal with it. It is one of the major issues confronting America. It's barely been asked in any of these debates, and we better deal with it, or we're going to have to explain to our children why they inherited this disaster.
Senator Rubio, here we go. Don't add up. What's your response, Mr. Trump?
Well, I don't know if you're saying that. Look, I'm just saying very simply, we have a country that I have never seen anything like it. I've been going over budgets and looking at budgets. We don't bid things out. We don't bid out, as an example, the drug industry, pharmaceutical industry. They don't go out to bid. They just pay almost as if you're walking to a drugstore. That's what they're paying. And the reason is they have a fantastic lobby. They take care of all of the senators, the congressmen. They have great power, and they don't bid out. The military is never properly bid. When we go out to military bids, it's not properly bid. And the people that really sell us the product are oftentimes the product we don't want, only because that particular company has political juice, okay? I'm self-funding my campaign. Nobody's going to be taking care of me. I don't want anybody's money. I will tell you something. We're going to go out to bid in virtually every different facet of our government. We're going to save a fortune.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. Senator Cruz, you advocate allowing younger workers to put some of their Social Security taxes into personal accounts. What do you say to critics who say that market volatility means that this is a disastrous proposal?
Well, number one, we need to see responsibility. Social Security right now is careening towards insolvency. It's irresponsible. Any politician that doesn't step forward and address it is not being a real leader. We need to see political courage to take this on and save and strengthen Social Security. And as president, what I will do for seniors, for anyone at or near retirement, there will be no changes whatsoever. Every benefit will be protected to the letter. But for younger workers, we need to gradually raise the retirement age. For younger workers, we need to change the rate of growth of benefits so it matches inflation instead of exceeding inflation. And as you noted, Dana, we need to have for younger workers that a portion of your tax payments are in personal accounts, like a 401k that you own, that you control, that you can pass on to your kids and grandkids. And one of the things that is critically important, listen, we've got lots of challenges in the world, but the answer can't just be wave a magic wand and say, problem, go away. You have to understand the problems. You have to have real solutions. It's like government spending. It is very easy. Hillary Clinton says she'll cut waste, fraud, and abuse. If only we had smarter people in Washington, that would fix the problem. You know what? That is the statement of a liberal who doesn't understand government is the problem. Here's my philosophy. The less government, the more freedom. The fewer bureaucrats, the more prosperity. And there are bureaucrats in Washington right now who are killing jobs, and I'll tell you, I know who they are. I will find them, and I will fire them.
Did you just compare Donald Trump to Hillary Clinton on this issue?
I will let Donald speak for himself, but I will say there is a reason. In my campaign, I've laid out a very, very specific spending cut plan. $500 billion. I've specified 5 major agencies that I would eliminate, 25 programs. And Dana, you know why political candidates don't do that?
Be serious
because when you do that, the lobbyists attack you. When you specify the programs you would eliminate, then you get attacked. Let's take, for example, back in Iowa, the first primary. When I went to Iowa and campaigned against ethanol mandates, everyone said that was political suicide. You can't take on ethanol in Iowa. And my opponents on this stage not only didn't do the same, they attacked me and even promised to expand corporate welfare. If we're going to stop bankrupting our kids and grandkids, you've got to be willing to take on the lobbyists, which means not just some fanciful waste, fraud, and abuse, but specifying these are the programs I will eliminate so that we can take care of the hardworking taxpayer.
Mr. Trump, would you like to respond?
What's
the part about?
If you look back to Iowa, Ted did change his view and his stance on ethanol quite a bit. He did, and at the end, not full on, but he did change his view in the hopes of maybe doing well. And I think everybody knows that. It was a front page story all over the place, and he did make a change.
Senator Cruz?
Listen, if you're fed up with Washington, the question you ought to be asking is who's willing to take on Washington. It's easy to have language, I'm fed up with the corruption in Washington. But if you have a candidate who has been funding liberal Democrats and funding the Washington establishment, it's very hard to imagine how suddenly this candidate is going to take on Washington. When I stood up and led the fight against Obamacare, Washington was furious and attacked me, but I did it because I was honoring my commitment to the hardworking men and women of this country who are losing their jobs because of Obamacare. When I led the fight against amnesty, it's because I was standing with the people against Washington. And if you want to tell people you're going to stand against Washington, the question we should ask is, when have you ever stood up to the lobbyists in Washington?
Okay, Mr. Trump, I'll let you respond because he mentioned you, but then I'm going to move on to Governor Kasich. Go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. First of all, Ted was in favor of amnesty, so there's no question about that. And Sheriff Joe Arpaio recently endorsed me, and there's nobody tougher on the borders than Sheriff Joe. And Jeff Sessions, one of the most respected senators in Washington, an incredible man, also endorsed me. And there's nobody that knows more about the borders than Senator Jeff Sessions. I would say this: we're all in this together. We're going to come up with solutions. We're going to find the answers to things. And so far, I cannot believe how civil it's been up here.
Governor Kasich, let's get back to Social Security. You told a voter in New Hampshire to, quote, get over cuts to Social Security benefits because you have a reform plan, and that is just the reality, you say, that is out there. Why is cutting Social Security payments the solution?
Well, first of all, we hear about taking on Washington. I took on Washington and I won. I actually got the budget balance when I was a member of the Congress, the chairman of the Budget Committee. We paid down $500 billion of the national debt. We also balanced the budget 4 years in a row, and we were just growing jobs like crazy, and the wage issue was not even an issue then. I also had a plan in 1999 to save Social Security and take the $5 trillion projected surplus and not only have Social Security for our young people, but also to give them private accounts. Now, there are more 18-year-olds who believe they have a better chance of seeing a UFO than a Social Security check. And we have a lot of seniors who are very nervous. I have a plan to fix it that doesn't even require raising the retirement age. If you've had wealth throughout your lifetime, when the time comes for you to be on Social Security, you'll still get it. It will just simply be less. And for those people who depend on that Social Security, they'll get their full benefit. That's the way it will work. And we don't have to monkey around with the retirement age. And how do I know that? I've done all this before. This is not a theory. Do you have to take on entitlement programs to balance the budget? Yes, but doesn't mean you have to cut them. It means you need to innovate them the way we do things in the 21st century. So not only do we have a balanced budget in Washington, but when I went to Ohio, we were $8 billion in the hole, and now we're $2 billion in the black. Our credit is strong. We're up 400,000 jobs, and I want to go back with the same formula to beat the Washington insiders again. And I will get it done, and this country will be much stronger economically as a result.
Thank you, Governor. Let's take a broader look at the Republican Party now. Mr. Trump, one of the concerns that your opponents have expressed throughout the course of this campaign is the notion that, in their estimation, you hold views that are at direct odds with Republican Party tradition. How are you looking to fundamentally change the Republican Party as its potential leader? What should the Republican Party stand for in 2016?
Well, first of all, I don't really think that. I think that I hold views that are very similar to many of the people. We are more inclusive, and if you look at the polls and if you look at the millions of people that have been pouring into the polls, it's, again, the biggest story. You look at all of these people that are coming in, something's happening. I am different in one primary respect, and that's trade. I feel that we have had horrible negotiators, horrible trade deals. The jobs in this country are disappearing, and especially the good jobs. You look at the recent jobs reports, which are really done so that presidents and politicians look good. Because all of these people looking for jobs, when they give up, they go home, they give up, and they're considered statistically employed. So that's that. But I will say, trade deals are absolutely killing our country. The devaluations of their currencies by China and Japan and many, many other countries, and we don't do it because we don't play the game. And the only way we're going to be able to do it is we're going to have to do taxes unless they behave. If you don't tax certain products coming into this country from certain countries that are taking advantage of the United States and laughing at our stupidity, we're going to continue to lose businesses and we're going to continue to lose jobs. And if you look at the average worker over the last 12 years, their salary and their pay has gone down, not up. It's gone down. And I think that's why there's been such an outpouring of love to what I'm saying.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. Senator Cruz, Donald Trump has so far won 35% of the vote. Those people are signing up to his vision of the Republican Party. What do you think is wrong with that vision?
Well, Donald is right. For example, he was just talking about international trade. He's right about the problems, but his solutions don't work. So, for example, his solution on international trade, he proposed earlier a 45% tariff on foreign goods. Now, he backed away from that immediately, and he may come back with a different number tonight. I don't know where he'll be tonight. But I'll tell you what happens. You know, we've seen prior presidential candidates who proposed massive tariffs. You know, Smoot-Hawley led to the Great Depression. And the effect of a 45% tariff would be when you go to the store, when you go to Walmart, when you're shopping for your kids, the prices you pay go up 45%. But not only that, when you put those in place, because a tariff is a tax on you, the American people, but the response of that is that the countries we trade with put in their own tariffs. A much better solution that works is the tax plan I've laid out, which would enable our exports to be tax-free, would tax our imports, would not raise prices for Americans, and would not result in reciprocal tariffs. Fix the problem, and that's what's missing.
All right, so it's been a pretty intense situation so far, but pretty civil at the same time. So we're actually getting answers to some of these policies, but let's see if the
manufacturers, they want to go into China. They can't. China won't let them. We talk about free trade. It's not free trade. It's stupid trade. China dumps everything that they have over here. No tax, no nothing, no problems, no curfews, no anything. We can't get into China. I have the best people, manufacturers. They can't get in. When they get in, they have to pay a tremendous tax. The 45% is a threat that if they don't behave, if they don't follow the rules and the regulations so that we can have it equal on both sides, we will tax you. It doesn't have to be 45, it could be less, but it has to be something because our country...
No.
Why does it keep doing that?
The tax. It's you, the working men and women. So ask yourself at home, how is this helping you? If your wages have been stagnant for 20 years, if you can't pay the bills, how does it help you to have a president come and say, I'm going to put a 45% tax on diapers when you buy diapers, on automobiles when you buy automobiles, on clothing when you buy clothing? That hurts you. It's why we've got to get beyond rhetoric of China bad and actually get to how do you solve the problem, because this solution would hurt jobs and hurt hardworking taxpayers in America.
Okay. I have to say, honestly, it's just the opposite. What will happen if they don't behave? We will put on a tax of some amount, and it could be a large amount, and we will start building those factories and those plants. Instead of in China, we'll build them here, and people will buy product from here rather than buying it through China, where we're being ripped off, and we have a $505 million trade deficit right now. So we'll build our factories here, and we'll make our own products. And that's the way it should be done. And the way we've been doing it for the last long period of time is our country is in serious trouble.
All for
It's a bubble, and it's going to explode.
All right, we're going to take a
He
very
has
quick
some
break.
really
When
good
we come
ideas.
back, we'll have much more of the
I think one of the
Why is
things is
Cruz trying to go back and forth with him about matters of business? I don't get this. Because
Why? I mean, he's running for president. I would figure he would want to.
You know,
do
Trump
that.
has some great ideas. I just wish he wasn't so controversial.
But Cruz is completely out of his league, so much so where you see how he has to approach him. Well, let me be clear what he said. He said this, and this is what this means. It's a complete lie. It's a fallacy. So he's really just destroying the little bit of credit he gave himself in the beginning. He's destroying it.
I think he's actually proving that. I mean, Ted Cruz is the one to beat at this point, right?
Really? I think Trump's doing really well.
I think Trump is losing ground. He's losing footing, and
I don't.
he strives off the conflict, and the conflict is not there.
Trump has to be very much careful, because he knows that he's going to win all primaries, I think.
Who? Trump?
Trump, yes. And here they would try to provoke him, and they would try to, I don't know, to get to squeeze something to use against him in further. I'm guessing.
They squeezed everything they could from him already.
Yeah, I mean, like, what else? How do you go back?
What else can he get? They found everything they could, like back.
Listen, this is like last debate for Rubio, for Kasich, and for CRUZ, obviously not, apparently. So.
All right, so we have Alex and Wes and Nectar in the building. What do you guys think? Give us your input so far. Alex?
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
You're crystal clear. Go right ahead.
Oh, good. I had to switch over to CNN to watch the last segment of it, but I really think that that CRUZ just stopped Trump right in his tracks with the tariff tax there.
Mm-hmm. Because I think this was Trump's shortest answer
Not
today.
a tax on China, it's a tax on you. He's absolutely right.
But I think you don't think taxes.
But he just told him how he was wrong because he's not right.
He's not.
He's
I
not
think
right.
taxes help people like us in general.
Sure.
Didn't Trump just?
No, a tariff isn't a tax on you.
No, but he's
It's not a
saying
tax
he
on
was
you.
going to tax the people in China if they, or what did he say? He was going to tax China, and we were going to build factories here so we didn't have to buy from them. Which makes
How is
sense.
possible? Can someone explain?
No, I think
he means it's like because we're building American products in China, but then paying China to build them to essentially use them again in America. So that
If you brought jobs abroad, of course you will create wealth there. An additional.
What he
value.
wants is to make the Apple factories here
Yeah.
and have them build it here so that China's not getting any type of money from us.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're ready to pay like $15 per hour, even more here.
Well, I mean, we should be doing that anyway. Like, there's no need to be in China in the first place. Just shut down our factories over there and rebuild them over here, and we'll pay for it.
It's a job too.
But I have to tell you, in all honesty, I can't speak about the GOP candidates like I can about the Democratic ones. This is not my strong suit, but I watch it to stay,
You
informed.
came over here. You came on a couple of days ago telling us everything about Trump.
Oh.
What did you say?
Oh no, I know. Yeah, don't get it. Don't get confused. I still think that he's a Nazi. I know that much. What I mean to say, I suppose, is that I can't speak intelligently about tax reform and these kind of things like GOP.
What I think
GOP-centered issues.
What I think Wes is implying is that you talk a lot about Trump, but you're saying right now that you don't really know that much about the GOP for the Republicans. Is that what you're implying, Wes?
Man, that's exactly what I said, and you know it's the truth. You can't remember.
No, I know enough about.
Correct?
I know enough about the candidates themselves. It's. I don't know as much about the
you talk to Alex like that.
I know it. Well, we're in Wes's ring tonight, which is okay.
He is feeling himself tonight. He's just like, I'm a Republican. I'm a run.
What is Wes not feeling himself?
Exactly. It don't matter who's the big one. Whether it's Bernie, Hillary, or freaking.
I love
Sesame
it.
Street, what's Bernie? I don't care. I'm in it.
I love the energy.
Bernie, okay. I know you tried it with my Saunders boy, but okay.
See, the problem is the price on a product can't go up is if you don't pay the tax to get it in the first place. That's the problem. They have to be able to get off of their goods in order to keep producing them and not have a surplus. So by taxing them and not getting the products in if they don't pay the tax, that's how you save your money. And no, we will never stop production in China. Our wages are going to go down to match those in China. But our entire cost of living is going to go down too.
Let's see what Mr. Trump is saying. He's looking really nervous. He's just grabbing his mic.
He looks like he's going to fall asleep.
2 days ago, I met this extraordinary couple who are on furlough because they're missionaries in Bangladesh. It's a very tough place to be a missionary. It's Muslim. And their safety and security very much relies upon friendly Muslims that live alongside them. That may not convert, but protect them, and certainly look out for them. And their mission fields really are Muslims that are looking to convert to Christianity as well. And they tell me that today they have a very hostile environment in which to operate in because the news is coming out that in America, leading political figures are saying that America doesn't like Muslims. So this is a real impact. There is no doubt that radical Islam is a danger in the world. I can also tell you that if you go to any national cemetery, especially Arlington, you're going to see crescent moons there. If you go anywhere in the world, you're going to see American men and women serving us in uniform that are Muslims. And they love America. And as far as I know, no one on this stage has served in uniform in the United States military. Anyone out there that has the uniform of the United States on and is willing to die for this country is someone that loves America, no matter what their religious background may be. Mr. Jeff.
Marco talks about consequences. Well, we've had a lot of consequences, including airplanes flying into the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and could have been the White House. There have been a lot of problems. You can say what you want, and you can be politically correct if you want. I don't want to be so politically correct. I like to solve problems. We have a serious problem of hate. There is tremendous hate. There is tremendous hate. Where large portions of a group of people, Islam, large portions want to use very, very harsh means. And let me go a step further. Women are treated horribly. You know that. You do know that. Women are treated horribly, and other things are happening that are very, very bad. I will say this. There is tremendous hatred. The question was asked, what do you think? I said, there is hatred. Now, it'd be very easy for me to say something differently. And everybody would say, oh, isn't that wonderful? We better solve the problem before it's too late.
Senator Rubio. Here we go. See, I'm not interested in being politically correct. I'm not interested in being politically correct. I'm interested in being correct. And in order to be correct on this issue, here's the bottom line. We do work. There is Islam has a major problem on its hands. It has a significant percentage of its adherents, particularly in the Sunni faith, but also in the Shia, who have been radicalized and are willing to fly planes into a building and kill innocent people. There is no doubt about that. It is also true that if you look around the world at the challenges we face, we are going to have to work together with Muslims who are not radicals. We're going to have to work with the Jordanian kingdom. We're going to have to work with the Saudis. We're going to have to work with the Gulf kingdoms. We're going to have to work with the Egyptians to defeat, for example, ISIS. It will take a Sunni Arab movement to defeat them. And so I think you can be correct, without meaning to be politically correct. We are going to have to work with people in the Muslim faith, even as Islam itself faces a serious crisis within it of radicalization. Governor Kasich? Do you think Islam hates us?
No, I don't. I think there is a sect of this radical Islam that is really serious and poses the greatest threat to us today. There isn't any question. And that's why the whole world has to work together to make sure that we don't have proliferation of these weapons of mass destruction. But look, I was there when and saw it when the Egyptian ambassador to the United States was in the Rose Garden.
Welcome, Leo
bringing the Arab Muslim world to work with us to repel
debate.
Saddam Hussein from Kuwait. The fact is that if we're going to defeat ISIS, we're going to have these countries. And they are Egypt, and they are Saudi Arabia, and they are Jordan, and they are the Gulf states. And we're going to have in some way or another a rapprochement with Turkey. And I frankly think the Europeans went in the wrong direction when they rejected Turkey from joining into the economic sphere of Europe. The simple fact of the matter is a lot of these Muslim countries they can't believe the stuff they see out of people who have distorted their faith. Look, the people who represent radical Islam, they want to destroy everything that we're about and other Muslims who don't share their view. But at the end of the day, we got to bring the world together, the civilized world, and we all speak with one voice to make sure that people who sit on the fence understand what civilization is, and we represent it, and equality and hope for everybody.
Thank you, Governor Kasich. Mr. Trump, I want to ask you about something else you said during the course of this campaign. You said that the U.S. has to, quote, take out the families of terrorists. When it was pointed out that targeting civilians is against the Geneva Conventions, you said, quote, so they can kill us, but we can't kill them? It is against federal, military, and international law to target civilians. So how will you order the military to target the families of suspected terrorists while also abiding by the law?
First of all, let me go back to the other just for a second. In large mosques in all over the Middle East, you have people chanting death to the USA. Now, that does not sound like a friendly act to me. As far as the families are concerned and as far as the law is concerned, we have a law We have a law that doesn't allow right now waterboarding. They have no laws, they have no rules, they have no regulations. They chop off heads, they drown 40, 50, 60 people at a time in big steel cages, pull them up an hour later, everyone dead, and we're working on a different set of parameters. Now,
that's terrible, man.
Okay, have to obey the laws. And we have to expand those laws because we have to be able to fight on at least somewhat of an equal footing, or we will never, ever knock out ISIS and all of the others that are so bad. We better expand our laws or we're being a bunch of suckers and they are laughing at us. They are laughing at us.
Senator Rubio, would you as president pursue a policy of targeting the families of suspected terrorists? No, of course not. And we don't have to in order to defeat terrorists. The way you defeat terrorists is pretty straightforward. It's difficult to do, but it has to be done. When I'm president of the United States, the best intelligence agencies in the world that right now have been hamstrung, they're going to be expanded, and the best intelligence agencies in the world are going to find terrorists. And then the best military in the world, which needs to be rebuilt because Barack Obama is gutting our military. He's going to leave us with the smallest army since the end of World War II, and the smallest Navy in a century, and the smallest Air Force we've ever had. We are going to rebuild that military, and that military is going to find the terrorists and destroy them. And if we capture any of these terrorists alive, they're not going to have the right to remain silent. And they're not going to go to Manhattan. They're going to go to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and we will find out everything they know, and we'll do so legally. Senator Cruz, you've talked about changing the rules of engagement in battle against ISIS.
We should just send all of our thugs to the military.
No, of course not. We've never targeted innocent civilians, and we're not going to start now. But listen, Jake, I understand. People are scared, and for 7 years we faced terrorist attacks, and President Obama lectures Americans on Islamophobia. That is maddening. But the answer is not simply to yell, China bad, Muslims bad. You've got to understand the nature of the threats we're facing and how you deal with them.
Well, is he making Trump sound like he's like a
there are
baby?
millions of radical Islamic terrorists who seek to kill us. We need a president commander-in-chief focused on fighting them. And I'll tell you frankly, one concern I have with Donald is that although his language is quite incendiary, when you look at his substantive policies on Iran, he has said that he would not rip up this Iranian nuclear deal. I think that's a mistake. The Ayatollah Khamenei wants nuclear weapons to murder us. I'll give you another example, dealing with radical Islamic terrorism. On Israel, Donald has said he wants to be neutral between Israel and the Palestinians. As president, I will not be neutral. And let me say, this week, a Texan, Taylor Force, he was an Eagle Scout, he was a West Point graduate, he was an Army veteran. He was murdered by a Palestinian terrorist this week in Israel. And I don't think we need a commander-in-chief who is neutral between the Palestinian terrorists and one of our strongest allies in the world, the nation of Israel.
Mr. Trump, we're going to come to you in a second.
I love Trump. He's just like, literally just like,
on this exact line of subject.
I think we need a.
Mr. Trump, I want to follow up on the quote that Senator Cruz used. You said you would want to be, quote, sort of a neutral guy. He did mention Taylor Force. He was a West Point graduate. He was a war hero. He was a Vanderbilt graduate student. He was killed in a Palestinian terror attack near Tel Aviv. Many others were killed. And the Israeli government says the Palestinian Authority is inciting this. Do you still want to stay neutral when the Palestinian Authority is inciting these attacks?
First of all, there's nobody on this stage that's more pro-Israel than I am. Okay? There's nobody. I am pro-Israel. I was the Grand Marshal not so long ago of the Israeli Day Parade down Fifth Avenue. I've made massive contributions to Israel. I have tremendous love for Israel. I happen to have a son-in-law and a daughter that are Jewish, okay? And 2 grandchildren that are Jewish. But I will tell you, I think if we're going to ever negotiate a peace settlement, which every Israeli wants, and I've spoken to the toughest and the sharpest, they all want peace, I think it would be much more helpful. I'm a negotiator. If I go in, I'll say I'm pro-Israel, and I've told that to everybody and anybody that would listen. But I would like to at least have the other side think I'm somewhat neutral as to them so that we can maybe get a deal done. Maybe we can get a deal. I think it's probably the toughest negotiation of all time, but maybe we can get a deal done. As far as, and by the way, just so you understand, as far as Iran, I would have never made that deal. I think it's maybe the worst deal I've ever seen. I think it's the worst deal I've ever seen negotiated. I will be so tough on them, and ultimately that deal will be broken unless they behave better than they've ever behaved in their lives, which is probably unlikely.
Senator Cruz and Senator Rubio.
You know, we need a president who understands the national security interests of this country. The reason we are friends and allies with Israel is they are a liberal democratic country that share our values. They're our strongest ally in the region. We get billions of intelligence resources, billions in military resources, and the Palestinian Authority that Donald, along with Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, say they want to treat neutrally the same as Israel. The Palestinian Authority is in a unity government with Hamas, a terrorist organization. They pay the families of these terrorists who murder people, and this is exactly the moral relativism Barack Obama has. And the answer is not scream all Muslims bad. Let me give you an example of a Muslim, for example, we ought to be standing with. President al-Sisi of Egypt, the president of a Muslim country who is targeting radical Islamic terrorists. He's hunting them down and stopping them. Our focus needs to be on keeping this country.
I want to go back to the Israeli government's assertion that the Palestinian Authority is inciting the convulsion of violence. Do you agree?
That's undeniable. First of all, they've said that they've encouraged people to do so. And you've seen the speeches of the Palestinian Authority president talking about how glorious this is that they're doing these sorts of things. But let me go back for a moment. The policy Donald has outlined, I don't know if he realizes, is an anti-Israeli policy. Maybe that's not your intent, but here's why it is an anti-Israeli policy. There is no peace deal possible with the Palestinians at this moment. There just isn't, because there's no one to negotiate with. The Palestinian Authority is not interested in a serious deal, and they are now in union with Hamas, an organization whose specific purpose is the destruction of the Jewish state. Every time that Israel has turned over territory of any kind, be it Gaza or now today in Samaria, it is used as a launching pad to attack Israel. And that's what will happen again. These groups are not interested in a deal with Israel. What they are interested in is ultimately removing the Jewish state and occupying its entire territory. So maybe in 30 years the conditions will exist, but they do not exist now. And to have a president forcing the Israelis to the table is harmful to Israel and emboldens Israel's enemies.
Mr. Trump, a response on the
If I become president of the United States, one of the things that will be an absolute priority is, number one, protection of Israel, but also seeing if a deal can be made. The toughest deal, the toughest negotiation there probably is of any kind, no matter where you look, no matter how hard you look. But I would like to give it a shot. Very, very pro-Israel, nobody more pro-Israel, but I would love to give it a shot. And I have to tell you this, I have friends, Israelis, non-Israelis, people from New York City that happen to be Jewish and love Israel. And some are very tough people. Every single one of them, they know it's tough, but every single one of them wants to see if we could ever have peace in Israel. And some believe it's possible. It may not be, in which case we'll find out, but it would be a priority if I become president to see if
do you agree with the Israeli government that the Palestinian Authority is inciting this violence?
Well, there's no question. They were saying that the Israelis intended to go to the Dome of the Rock. I mean, when you think about this, thank goodness we worked with the Israelis to give them the Iron Dome. And, where they could protect themselves against all the missiles that were flying in. Could you imagine living in Miami here and have people shooting missiles in? Secondly, there was just an article the other day.
Countries.
Okay, guys, so we're going to just speak for the next 2 to 3 minutes while John Kasich is, and then once he's finished,
let's be real.
let's be real, nobody really cares. So,
irrelevant.
Guys, you're so tough. You're so cruel.
We're realists.
We're realists. Let's pull the percentage again for how the poll numbers are going.
Because I'm a Bernie supporter, so.
I thought you were Trump the other day. What happened to that?
Okay, I like how CRUZ did his homework. Yes. How he prepared the cut of the Trump. Mm-hmm. Okay, he doesn't understand anything. Even Trump tried to deliver his message. He does just him at all.
I think Trump, I'm the only, and I really am, I'm really not, I know you really do think I'm a Trump
really
supporter.
Not a Trump supporter.
I'm really not, but I think that he does a really good job always picking it back up.
I think Rubio's doing an excellent job tonight.
Yeah,
I think he's
Rubio,
pretending Trump doesn't
I
exist.
just can't take him seriously.
He hasn't mentioned anything about Trump. He hasn't thrown any sly digs at Trump. He's just been answering the questions like a president. I think that he's too sensitive and could cry later. I just feel like I do not see Rubio being my president. And
Rubio is not grow up. He's not grew up yet. He's just small.
Literally has more likability than CRUZ does.
Yeah, for sure.
He definitely does.
He's a boy.
CRUZ is just Kevin from The Office.
Oh, okay. About to say.
Not you.
What up there, buddy? But some of the things that I wrote down is Trump. The NSA needs to hire Trump because he seems to know everyone, sees everything. Even in Iraq, he sees.
Yeah, but we don't know who these people are. He just says he knows them.
He went into a mosque and he saw people he heard.
Trump?
Saw whatever.
I thought Rubio said that.
No, it was Trump.
Trump. Yeah.
Oh.
People are
Trump knows everybody here. He knows everybody there, but we don't get to know who these people are.
Yeah.
Trump knows everybody.
Maybe they're Facebook friends. That's true.
Are you in the ISIS Facebook group?
Maybe he follows him on Instagram. I don't know.
Or maybe they don't exist.
So what
are you talking about?
We were talking. Oh, Nectar made a joke about their Facebook friends. That's how he knows. That's how he knows about the Muslims hating America so much.
So there were, and just so many things. And I didn't actually get to write down anything as we were going, but there were so many topics where I just kept thinking oh my God. But then I would just go to the next one. So
okay. Anyway, it was in general. It was foreign policy topic. So, who do you think the more fits the job regarding the foreign policy? Who you just heard from?
I feel like Trump sees this as a board game.
To me, Trump, I like Trump. I like Trump's stance, honestly,
like
when it comes to that, because he wants to sit down and talk. I feel like that's a good thing. Like have a, because I feel like if you get the two in the room, you get a true correlation on how they really feel about each other, and then you can move on from there. If there's room for there to be peace, then there's peace. If there isn't any room, then he leaves from that meeting knowing what he needs to do after that.
It's pretty unusual, actually. Yeah.
One thing that he said that really kind of made my skin crawl more than usual with him is commenting that, I mean, it's what do you want, like, as the viewer of the debate, like, what is it that you want as far as peace versus war is concerned? If you want to see the world burn, then you give the reins over to Trump. If you want to see real peace, you give the reins over to Sanders. But what really, like I said, kind of put me on edge with Trump was when he commented that the military is too small. We have the largest, most technologically advanced military on the fucking planet. We need to strip the budget of the military substantially.
I think one of the points that he made when he said that,
invest more money into it, put us farther into debt.
because he says it's not like the military is protecting us; it's more or less us protecting other countries. That's why the military.
That's what I was trying to. Yeah.
That's what he was saying.
I just also don't understand why we have to get involved with other countries' beef.
We don't. I mean, we don't.
How do you feel about this?
We don't have any business in Germany. We don't have any business in Japan. These are perfectly capable first world nations that can take care of themselves. We have no business being there.
And Wes, how do you feel about
in exchange of this, they maybe buy something from the US. Maybe they don't claim some debt. Maybe they, in exchange of that, they do other preferences. So we just don't know.
And I think Bernie would actually handle it that way too, where he would want to have the two sit down and say what they feel and say exactly if there's room for peace or this is a forever turmoil and that we need to work on the border.
I mean, you know what? As for me, like as that we all it seems like it's me at least. We all kind of have our own different opinions of how this debate is going. I think that when it comes to business, like. You know, we all know who the businessman is. It's Trump. When it comes to negotiation, it's Trump. I mean, that's his stronghold. That's why he is here. That's why he's running. That's where, he's a candidate because he is such a strong business leader.
Yep, the trust fund baby with 12 failed corporations. That's our guy.
Well, when it comes to negotiations...
I'm
just kidding. No, it's fine. When it comes to negotiations, but
Alex, this is Kayla. Kayla, this is Alex.
When it comes to someone who, that's why. But if you think of, that's why again and again, his only pattern, like he's just so strong. He's a firm believer in what he says. So he's very strong when he talks. Like when it comes to negotiation, you want someone who can intimidate or make it seem like. Maybe he is a prick a little bit, but when it comes to that factor of a president, I mean, like
but not everything
else. But I'm saying when it comes to negotiating with other countries and sitting down and saying, "Hey, this is what we're doing," that's where I think he'll be good.
I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that, but I feel like what you closed with there is pretty inaccurate. Him sitting down and negotiating with other countries. I feel like he comes in and strong arms and bullies them. But I can appreciate
hard for me to
having
gauge
a strong, authoritative leader. I'm okay with that, and I think we need one when it comes to dealings with North Korea and with Russia. I mean, Putin
Clinton
is a brilliant madman. You know, the dude is certifiably fucking insane, but he's incredibly intelligent, and he's a hell of a negotiator and a businessman. And I do, for the record, am a fan of the Obama administration and his presidency, but I think that Obama cowers to Putin, and I do believe that we need someone more authoritative that can stand up to those kind of world leaders.
Okay, so
what
Alex,
do you think, Wes?
Sorry.
Because I feel like Wes is the biggest Trump supporter, so I feel like he should have an input.
Before we go on, I do want to ask Alex. So, I mean, yes, you did say this, but if you had to pick, I know you said you're going with the Democrats, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you had to pick, and it really came down to it, and you had to pick between one of these candidates for the GOP, who would you think to be
Trump?
Who would you choose as your leader?
Well, I have two answers. The first one is Trump, because I know he'd get impeached in the first 90 days. Now we can get somebody that can get the job in.
You're funny.
Yeah. I suppose Rubio.
Okay.
Yeah, he'd be an adorable president.
What do you think of this comment, baby? I don't know. I want to like just kind of pet Rubio and give him chocolate milk or something.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I was about to squeeze his.
Like he's precious. He's precious.
He's like a little boy.
I have one other small comment. Does anybody else feel that Trump carries himself with certain like homosexual mannerisms?
I don't know. He's listening to you right now. He's like, wait, what did you say? Huh?
I don't. No.
No.
I don't. But wait, do we know if that's a toupee or not? Because is that a joke or is it really a toupee?
I think it is. He looks like he's
I
balding.
think it's a real comb over. I don't know.
I think it is too, but this has been bugging.
I think Rubio
this
gives
whole
me
time.
more of a homo vibe than Trump.
I don't know. I'm gonna run to the
Rubio,
bathroom,
I
guys.
think, is like I had those gay experiences in college where Trump is just like, I'm sucking dick as soon as I get off the stage.
Okay, well, definitely. I mean,
Like
you should
Rubio
definitely-
got a little furious and a little drunk, and Trump is just like bag of dicks.
But I feel like Trump, I mean, rich guys usually try everything, I feel like, because they're so rich they don't care. It's just
He
like,
keeps like little twink slave boys in Trump Towers locked up somewhere.
pretty sure. But we should definitely submit that question to CNN and see he answers it in the debate.
Sure.
Yeah. Have you had any homosexual tendencies? If so, does that contribute to the 3 divorces that you've had in your life? I'm just kidding. All right, you guys. So let's go back to the debate and see what he's frowning about, because he's always frowning for some reason.
Yeah, he's
Strong, solid, good deal, because right now, everything is in Cuba's favor. Right now, every single aspect of this deal is in Cuba's favor. It's the same way as the Iran deal.
China, Cuba, China.
All we do is keep giving. We give. and
Mr.
give
Trump, just
and
to be
give.
clear, there is an embassy that you would have to decide whether it would be open or whether you would close it. Which would it be? Havana.
I would probably have the embassy closed until such time as a really good deal was made and struck by the United States.
All right, first of all, the embassy is the former consulate. It's the same building, so it could just go back to being called a consulate. We don't have to close it that way. Second of all, I don't know where Cuba's going to sue us, but if they sue us in a court in Miami, they're going to lose. Third, on the issue of a good deal, I know what the good deal is. I'll tell you what the good deal now is already codified. Here's a good deal. Cuba has free elections. Cuba stops putting people in jail for speaking out. Cuba has freedom of the press. Cuba kicks out the Russians from wars and kicks out this Chinese listening station in Behucal. Cuba stops helping North Korea invade UN sanctions. Cuba takes all of those fugitives of American justice, including that cop killer from New Jersey, and send her back to the United States and to jail where she belongs. And you know what? Then we can have a relationship with Cuba. That's a good deal.
Thank you, Senator Rubio. Senator Cruz, if you become president.
Wow, look at that reaction, you guys.
And once again, great diplomatic relations with Cuba.
Yes, I would. And you know, I think this exchange actually highlights a real choice for Republican primary voters.
No, Rubio had a really good
When it comes to foreign policy, do you want to continue on the same basic trajectory as the last 7 years of the Obama foreign policy? When it comes to these deals, Cuba and Iran, they were negotiated by Hillary Clinton and John Kerry. There's a real difference between us. Donald supported Hillary Clinton and John Kerry. And what he said right now is that he agrees in principle with what they're doing. The only thing he thinks is that they should negotiate a little bit better deals. They should be more effective. I have a fundamental disagreement, and I think most Republicans and most Americans do, that we shouldn't be allowing billions of dollars to go to nations that hate us, to go to Cuba, to go to Iran, and to let them use those billions of dollars to try to murder us.
If Ted was listening, he would have heard me say something very similar. I said we would not do the deal unless it was going to be a very good deal for us. And I think I said it loud, and I think I said it very clear. And I think after 50 years, and I have many friends, I own many properties in Miami, many, and I have many people that know and feel exactly the way I do.
You know everything.
Make a deal, it would be great, but it's got to be a great deal for the United States, not a bad deal for the United States. As far as Iran is concerned, I would have never made that deal. That was one of the worst deals ever made by this country. It is a disaster. So for Ted to say, I agree with that deal, I mean, it's a staple in my speeches that may be the worst single deal I've ever seen negotiated. So don't try and put it on me like it's wonderful, like I love it.
Senator Cruz, your response?
Well, look, I'll point out, first of all, it is a matter of public record that Donald supported John Kerry in 2004 over George W. Bush, and he supported Hillary Clinton, gave her 2 checks in a presidential campaign in 2008. And indeed, once she was Secretary of State, he described her as one of the greatest Secretary of States in history. And, you know, the point on the Iran deal, his answer to everything is if only someone smarter were in government, things would be better. No, we don't just need smarter people in government. We need leaders that are protecting American interests. And when it comes to Iran, Donald has said he would leave the agreement in place giving the Ayatollah Khamenei over $100 billion. That reflects you do not understand the radical Islamic terrorist that is the Ayatollah that wants to murder us. We need a commander-in-chief that understands our enemy, understands and doesn't give them billions of dollars to threaten our safety and security.
Tell us some more information about that.
I was against the giving of the money at all costs. I said don't negotiate at all until you get the prisoners back. If the prisoners don't come back early, 3 years ago, one of the longest negotiations I've ever seen, by the way. If they don't come back early, I was saying don't negotiate. They come back early. What you do is you take it back and you say either give us the prisoners or we double up the sanctions. And what we should have done is doubled up the sanctions and made a much better deal, because that deal is a disaster. Ted, the money is largely gone because of incompetent and very, very poor negotiators. But that money, $150 billion, is largely gone and already spent everywhere.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. Let's refocus this back on Cuba. Governor Kasich, a pair of entrepreneurs from Alabama and North Carolina have just received approval to build the first U.S. factory in Cuba, making tractors for small farms. This is a direct result of President Obama's new policy in Cuba that we've been talking about. If you are elected president,
oh, Lord. It seems that CNN treat Kasich seriously, contrary to us.
Yeah, it's nice of them.
Of course, yes. To our friends around the world, they say, what is America doing? You know, you don't support us. We can't figure out where you are. You won't arm the freedom fighters in Ukraine. We let the Russians, you could trump up some excuse in the business of, Russian-speaking people. You had a red line in Syria. You walked away from it. You refused to fund the Syrian rebels. You undercut Egypt, and we ended up with the Muslim Brotherhood for a while. And then we turn our back on Netanyahu when he comes to Congress to talk about his concerns of the Iranian deal. Look, I know in human nature sometimes there's a sense that you make better with your enemies than you do with your friends. And you know what happens when you do that? You make a terrible mistake. You need to support your friends. You need to hold your enemies out here, and you need to negotiate tough deals. And the fact is, they need to understand who we are. The Chinese understand. They don't own the South China Sea. They have to stop hacking everything we have in this country, or we'll take out their systems. We will arm the Ukrainians so that they have lethal defensive aid. We will destroy ISIS. And Mr. Putin, you better understand, you're either with us or you're against us. We're not rattling a sword. You're not our enemy, but we're not going to put up with this nonsense any longer. And a strong America is what the entire world is begging for. Where has America gone? Is what many of our allies say around the world. I'm president. They're going to know exactly where we are because we're coming back.
Thank you. While we're discussing issues of importance to Floridians, I reached out to the Republican mayor of Miami, Tomas Regalado, to find out what he wanted to hear from you this evening. Mayor Regalado told me, quote,
what'd you say?
climate change means rising ocean levels, which in South Florida means flooding downtown and in our neighborhoods. It's an everyday reality in our city. Will you, as president, acknowledge the reality of the scientific consensus about climate change? And as president, will you pledge to do something about it? Unquote. Senator Rubio, the Miami mayor, has endorsed you. Will you honor his request for a pledge and acknowledge the reality of the scientific consensus of climate change and pledge to do something about it? The climate is changing, and one of the reasons why the climate is changing is because the climate has always been changing. There's never been a time when the climate has not changed. I think the fundamental question for a policymaker is the climate changing because of something we are doing, and if so, is there a law passed to fix it? So on the issue of flooding in Miami, it's caused by two things. Number one, South Florida is largely built on land that was once a swamp. And number two, because if there is higher sea levels or whatever it may be happening, we do need to deal with that through mitigation, and I have long supported mitigation efforts. But as far as a law that we can pass in Washington to change the weather, there's no such thing. On the contrary, there is laws they want us to pass. There are laws they want us to pass that would be devastating for our economy. Or these programs like what the president's put in with the Clean Power Act, or all these sorts of things that he's forcing down our throat on the war on coal. Let me tell you who's going to pay the price of that. Americans are going to pay the price of that. The cost of doing that is going to be rammed down the throat of the American consumer, the single parent, the working family who are going to see increases in the cost of living, the businesses who are going to leave America because it's more expensive to do business here than anywhere else. And you know what passing those laws would have, what impact they would have on the environment? Zero. Because China is still going to be polluting and India is still going to be polluting at historic levels. So I am in favor of a clean environment. My children live in South Florida. My family's being raised here. I want this to be a safe and clean place, but these laws some people are asking us to pass will do nothing for the environment, and they will hurt and devastate our economy.
So just to clarify, Senator Rubio, Mayor Regalado, when he talks about the reality of the scientific consensus about climate change, the Republican mayor of Miami, he's saying the scientific consensus is that
Alex, are you cringing right now with these
when
responses?
you talk to him, because he is the mayor of Miami and he has endorsed you, you tell him that he's wrong? I would say to him that there is no law that they want us to pass that would have any impact on that. If you took the gift list of all of these groups that are asking us to pass these laws and did every single one of them, there would be no change in our environment. Sea level would still rise. All these other things that are happening would continue to go on for a lot of different reasons. One, because America is not a planet. It's a country. And number two, because these other countries like India and China are more than making up in carbon emission for whatever we could possibly cut. Here's what he will immediately, and Mayor Regalado is a great mayor and a good friend, but here's what he's immediately start hearing from. He will immediately start hearing from families in South Florida who are barely making it by, and now their electric bill went up $20 or $30 a month. Because we just made it more expensive to generate power, that cost will be passed on to working families. I am not going to destroy the U.S. economy for a law that will do nothing for our environment.
Governor Kasich, what would you say to the mayor of Miami?
Well, I do believe we contribute to climate change, but I don't think it has to be either you're for some environmental stringent rules or you're not going to have any jobs. The fact is you can have both. In our state, we've reduced emissions by 30%. And let me tell you also what we're trying to do. We want all the sources of energy. We want to dig coal, but we want to clean it when we burn it. We believe in natural gas. We believe in nuclear power. And you know what else I believe in? I happen to believe in solar energy, wind energy, efficiency. Renewables matter. Now, it doesn't mean because you pursue a policy of being sensitive to the environment, because we don't know how much humans actually contribute, but it is important we develop renewables. A battery technology can unleash an entirely different world. So the fact is that you can have a strong environmental policy at the same time that you have strong.
All right, you guys. So one topic that we didn't think would be discussed is actually being discussed right now.
It's true. As you remember, all these guys are funded by Koch brothers, who are actually from oil and gas business. So they would never admit any real threats. Even Rubio now plays against himself because anyone here understands that Miami Beach literally drawing. The water is there like on the level of the pavement sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So
we had a problem today. A flooding problem. So
save us, Miami, save us. At this point, it's just funny to me. The closest person that can actually say anything about environmental change that has these people behind them is Hillary, and Hillary doesn't even go around saying it that much. She didn't even dismiss.
Hillary is a Republican.
Basically,
Hillary is a Republican. Because he just married Clinton, converted to Democrat to marry Bill. That's it.
What do you guys think about that statement? William, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and everybody else that's in the chat room right now. Alex, what about you is making you cringe about this topic right now? Because we've had, two different candidates have denied climate change, and one that says it's there, but he's not sure if it's caused by humans or not.
I don't understand why they're so touchy.
I'm surprised we got that far with Kasich.
Yeah. I don't understand people, like, the priorities are all set wrong. Do people not realize, like, the planet was here before we were here, so it's like, wouldn't you want to take care of it?
So I just,
where do we go after here?
I guess I just don't understand why they're so, like, if it's an issue, it's being brought up so here, then again, whatever, like, why is he, like, avoiding it? Or what, like, how will it hurt him by attacking the issue?
Assassinated, bullets.
By climate change?
Actually, by the people that are not adhering to the fact that it's climate change.
So people get mad because they don't agree with, like, I don't understand.
Because you have to think of it like this. When you're agreeing with that, you're agreeing with setting up new types of energies to combat that emissions that are happening. And in turn, the coal and oil industries start to die out, because when you start making renewable energy that's more self-sufficient, then you don't need people to get oil, and they're not making money off the oil anymore, and they're not making money off of the gases and stuff like that.
I actually have a question kind of off topic.
Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, sorry to divert the conversation. Can anybody tell me that's a little more computer savvy than I am how to connect my webcam?
Oh, okay.
Like my laptop has a built-in webcam.
You lost your connection. Yes.
Okay, what I'm gonna
can you help out?
I think you just have to refresh him, and then it's gonna ask him again.
Alex, he logged in like a couple days, and we had actually a video from him,
I saw him,
and then it just gone.
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
I can't hear Actor.
We are not hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know what happened with the camera.
Help out.
Help me.
Maybe you click somewhere that says "Don't broadcast the camera," and that's why it's doing
the problem will be fixed in 5
Do you have, like, those 3 lines at the top right of your screen that says, like, settings, like, on the top of your web page?
If you're using Chrome, on top there is a small camera next to the icon with the favorites. Can you see it?
Okay. Sorry, I stepped away for just 1 second. Yes, I'm using Google Chrome. My laptop has a web camera built in. Okay, go from there.
Okay, then click on that, and where it says camera, say continue allowing DINtv.com. Practically, let me make a screenshot and send it to you so you can see it.
Continue allowing. Yeah, look at that. Okay, no shit. Okay. So I'll say done there.
And then it's gonna kick you out, and then you just have to come back in.
Most probably you have to refresh after that, and then you will start.
Do I select? Okay, it says this page is accessing your microphone. Continue allowing.
Yes.
And that's under.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
And then you just do that, and then click done on the camera. Then
click done sharing, and then refresh it again.
Then refresh your page, and most probably your we will see it.
How many users we're losing because of these technologies?
Oh, okay. Nectar, I only have the microphone option, like the thing that you just shared here to the right of the screen. I don't have the camera option. Only the one for the microphone.
But you had this.
Yeah, I know. 2 days ago, it worked fine.
1 second.
If you guys would rather go back to the debate, I mean, you can leave me in the dust.
We wouldn't allow you down. We wouldn't let you down.
Sure.
So guys, anyway, we have a commercial break, and what do you think?
Okay,
what is your impression like on the whole thing after almost 1 hour and a half watching all these things.
Alex, have a look on this article. Maybe this can help you.
And where are you?
We are not hearing you, Kevin. We are not hearing you.
Oh, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me now?
Now,
I mean,
yes.
if you got me here talking about politics, it's got to be somewhat exciting.
I know, I had to kind of trick you.
Kayla, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm loving it.
She's loving it.
I'm loving it. I don't. I hear myself echo. Do you hear that?
No, I don't.
Okay.
A little bit reduce the volume of your headphones. Yeah, in front of you.
Do you hear better now?
Yeah, I think. Okay. I'm enjoying it. I just think I'm having a. You take the lead, Kevin.
Okay, so Kayla is enjoying it really well.
I really am, and it's nice that I can talk about it too.
Mhm.
It's things that aren't so foreign to my knowledge. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Like, I'm not that much of a political. Like, I don't get into it too much, but I kind of, I see what's floating on top, and kind of just to stay.
You represent the momentum, basically.
Exactly. So,
you weren't part of politics before, but then seeing the actions and seeing the drive that everybody has for it, it makes you want to learn about it.
yeah,
So I think that's exciting.
it's
and
nice to stay informed too.
Definitely,
It's always
definitely. So, anything that struck you in regards to the debate so far? I'm really surprised by the whole environment talk. Honestly,
I think it's just because it's Miami. Like I said, we had a flood today.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot avoid it here, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You just Florida going down, sinking.
Yeah, it's like gonna slap you right across the face if you don't talk about it. I mean, you're in Miami, so I mean, I guess they always stay relevant to their location.
Okay, so when will people realize that Bernie is our Noah and he's building an ark?
When they realize that Bernice is not here. So
Oh my God! Did I really just go there? Did I just do that? when are Miami people gonna realize Bernie's our Noah and get on the ark, or you're gonna sink with the rest of Miami? And Republicans who don't think that there's climate change happening.
Wes, are you there?
Wake up, Mr. West.
Mr. Wes is in the building. No? Okay, so
Kanye is silent today.
Alex, who do you think is winning the debate so far?
It looks like Rubio is probably landing the best with the audience.
Yeah.
Cruz looks like Trump looks like he's about to fall asleep, and I like what Krill said though about Cruz. He is doing his homework. He did come prepared.
He took so much Xanax pills.
Yeah, he looks very presenting too much. Like, wow, listen here.
Cruz?
What I want to say is the
One of these?
I'm like, dude, relax.
Is it anything, Kevin? Could it be anything on your end? Like you have me turned off or something? I don't know.
No, you know what you should do? No. You should go to your settings in the top right. Do you see those three little lines?
Yes.
Okay, click on that and then go to settings. And then I think where it says insert settings, do camera or something like that. Or
he has to click on show advanced.
Show advanced.
Yep. I've just done that. Okay. So where do I go from there?
And now
you should see something.
No, I think you have to search for it. See if you can search it in the top
where it says reset settings to factory settings.
Before you could just search it right here. Let me see if this will work.
Oh,
yeah, search for camera in the top right where it says search the settings, and then you can click on content settings. Do you see this? Are you following? Sorry, going really fast. You can type in camera.
All right, hold on. What do I type in search settings?
Camera.
Okay.
And then content settings. And then there you go. Just scroll down. Well, you scroll down and find
there, girl.
It's there somewhere. Okay. Camera.
Yeah. You should see it there. It should be self-explanatory after that.
Yeah.
Do you see it?
If you need help, let us know.
Yeah. Yes. It says ask when a site requires access to your camera. Recommended, which is already checked.
They have managed exceptions, maybe.
Yes.
Because I should work on
take DINtv out of your exception. Like we should always be able to see you at all times.
Allow us.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just so damn ignorant. Like, yeah, okay. So it says DINtv.com behavior allow.
Yes.
That should be fine, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it not working? Like, was it like that before? Oh.
We fill up stadiums. It's usually the police, and by the way, speaking of the police, we should pay our respects to the police because they are taking tremendous abuse of this country, and they do a phenomenal job.
Monitor the police.
We should truly give our police, the incredible people, we should give them a great deal more respect than they receive.
Senator Cruz, are you concerned at all that these kinds of scenes potentially hurt the Republican Party for the general election?
Listen, I think for every one of us, we need to show respect to the people. We need to remember who it is we're working for. We've seen for 7 years a president who believes he's above the law.
What?
Who behaves like an emperor.
What?
Who it is all about him, and he forgot that he's working for the American people. Let me ask, turn the camera out here. How many of y'all feel disrespected by Washington? Washington isn't listening to the people. And that's the frustration that is boiling over. And we need to nominate and elect a president who remembers he works for the people. You know,
for sure.
At Donald's rallies recently, he's taken to asking people in the crowd to raise their hand and pledge their support to him. Now, I got to say, to me, I think that's exactly backwards.
Talk about this.
This is a job interview. We are here pledging our support to you, not the other way around. And the only hand raising that I'm interested in doing is on January 20th, 2017, raising my hand with my left hand on the Bible.
I believe that too,
pledging to the American people to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
It shows the total dishonesty of the press. We were having on a few occasions, again, massive crowds, and we're talking, and I'm saying, who's going to vote on Tuesday? Who's going to vote? The place goes crazy. Then I say, hey, do me a favor. Raise your right hand. Do you swear you're going to vote for Donald Trump? Everyone's laughing. We're all having a good time. And, you know, that's why I have much bigger crowds than Ted, because we have a good time on that. But we're all having a good time. And the next day on the Today Show, and a couple of other places, not too many, because when you look at it, everyone's smiling, laughing, their arms are raised like this. And they had pictures, still pictures of people, and they tried to equate it to Nazi Germany. It was a disgrace. It was a total disgrace. And I've had reporters, people that you know, come up to me and said that what they did on the Today Show was a disgrace.
Governor Kasich, do you worry about the scenes of violence at some of these rallies affecting the Republican Party's chances in the
Be specific.
I worry about the
Don't graze over the issue.
Period.
Moderator.
You know, elections are important, but the unity of this country really matters. Jake, here what I think is happening. There are people out there who are worried about their jobs. They're worried that somebody's going to come in and tell them they're out of work and they're 54 years old and they don't know where they're going to get another job, a man and a woman. Maybe they're worried about a trade deal. They're worried about the fact that their wages haven't gone up. They're worried that their kids went to college and the promise was you go to college, you get a job, things are going to be great. They went to college, they ran up debt, and they're still living in their parents' basement. People are uptight. Our seniors are worried they're going to lose their Social Security. There's two ways to treat it. You can either prey on that and be negative about it, or you can tell people that these things can be fixed. If we're Americans rather than Republicans and Democrats, we get together, we can solve all of these problems. We can provide financial security, we can drive the wages up, we can get kids jobs with a more robust economy. And you know what? They want to help solve these problems right where they live, and I'll give them the power to do it.
Senator Rubio, I know you want to say something.
I do. A couple points. The first is I'm concerned about violence in general in this society. And by the way, the first people that are facing that violence are our law enforcement officers. And they deserve our respect, and they deserve our thanks for what they deserve our thanks for everything they do for us. On the issue of anger, yes, people are angry. Of course they're angry. Every institution in America has been failing us for the better part of 20 or 30 years. But leadership is not about using the anger. Leadership is about using the anger to motivate us, not to define us, but to motivate us to take action. Being here in Miami is special. My grandfather lived with us most of our life, most of his life while I was growing up. And he would sit in the porch of our home and tell me all kinds of stories and things I learned about history. My grandfather was born in 1899 before there were airplanes in the sky. One night in the summer of 1969, he watched a man set foot on the moon. You know what he said when he saw that? He said, Americans can do anything. Americans can do anything. There is no problem before us we cannot solve, and we can solve it if we come together in a serious way in this generation and embrace all of the principles that made us great to begin with.
Whatever.
The math suggests that it's possible that not one of you will reach the magic number of 1,237 delegates before the Republican convention, which would mean a contested convention. Let's go back to Salem Radio's Hugh Hewitt.
Thank you, Jake. Governor Kasich, the math and the map say that you can only become the nominee if, in fact, there is a contested convention. If we arrive on the shores of Lake Erie, Donald Trump has the most delegates. Why shouldn't the person with the most delegates, even if it's not a majority of delegates, be the nominee?
Well, first of all, let's not, the math doesn't tell the whole story in politics. The great thing about politics, the reason why we watch it is because what's true today is not necessarily true tomorrow. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Secondly, when you went to school up there in Salem, Ohio, okay, if you got an 86, you got a B. Because everybody else had an 84 didn't mean you got an A. So you just have to win enough delegates to be the nominee. And frankly, I don't know if we're going to get at a convention like that, but if we do, I was at one in 1976 as a wee lad and supported Ronald Reagan and actually worked directly with him. He tried valiantly. He lost. Gerald Ford won. The party was united. Gerald Ford served the country great by pardoning Richard Nixon. He lost the election probably because of that, but he put America first, and we were healed as a party. So look, you have to earn the delegates in order to be picked, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We don't know what's going to happen because we still have about half the delegates to be selected. And that's what's going to be a very interesting thing to see how it all turns out as we move forward over the next couple of weeks.
Thank you, Governor. Mr. Trump, if you arrive in Cleveland with a plurality, and the most, but not a majority, is it legitimate for someone else to emerge from that convention, the nominee, and if so, would you support that person?
I think that what should happen, getting back maybe a little bit to your first question, I think that whoever, first of all, I think I'm going to have the delegates, okay? I think. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. But if somebody doesn't have the delegates, and I guess there's two of us up here that can, and there are two of us that cannot at this moment. But if some, no, that's, by the way, that is not meant to be a criticism. That's just a mathematical fact, okay? If two of...
No, what happened? All right, hold on.
It was me.
Oh, okay.
I killed it. I'm sorry.
Okay. Or hold on. I can find it.
Win. That's what I think.
Senator Cruz, if you
Set by somebody, which is a very random number, I think that whoever gets the most delegates
very passionate supporters.
That's what I think.
Senator Cruz, if you sabotaging the ball,
overtake
Donald Trump, there's some folks in Washington. What do you do to the
Well, look, there's some folks in Washington. There's some in Donald, you are welcome to be president of this country. They're unhappy with how the people are voting, and they want to parachute there's some in favored Washington candidates to be the nominee. I think that would be an absolute disaster. They're unhappy with how the people are voting, and they want to parachute in. It's one of the reasons why in the course of this election, I think that would be an everyone up here has worked very, very hard, but Donald was right. There are only two of the will of the vote that have a path. It's one of the reasons why in the course of this election, that this everyone up here has worked very, very hard, but Donald was 360 delegates. He had about 100 more to winning the nomination. We have Donald and myself. Donald in 8 separate states all over the country. Geographically, 360 delegates. He has about 100 more than I have. From Kansas to Texas, we all over this country. Donald in 8 separate states all over the country. Geographically, you're one of the 65, 70% Republicans. From Kansas to Texas, all over the nominate Donald Trump. We have beaten Hillary Clinton. That's why the media wants him to be the nominee so much. 65, 70% of Republicans. We want to invite you. We nominate Donald Trump. Candidates come and do. That's why the media wants him to be the nominee so much. If you recognize Carly Field and join us, we are saying Canada come together and man together. It's why Carly Field
I ask you, I come together, let's stand together, and let's beat Hillary and my wife always told me which is the reason. So every other his doctors told me because I symbolize all the that gentleman is not giving up on me, and I am not going to give up on him. I am going to retire because this election is too important. What's at stake is the future of this country. And I believe that at the end of this process, this nation will make the right choice. Because I've always believed that God has blessed America, that God's hand is upon this country, and that its greatest days are yet to come. Thank you, Senator. Let's start off with Stephen Washington.
Mr. Trump, one of your biggest selling points is that you are largely self-funding your campaign, and you are your opponents controlled by their special interest donors. Will you maintain your pledge not to take outside contributions throughout the general election?
I have not made that decision yet. I will make a decision on that, but I have not made that decision yet. My decision was that I would go through the entire primary season, and I have turned down probably $275 million worth. I have many, many friends that come up all day long. 5 million, 10 million. I'm turning down money. I feel sort of foolish, to be honest with you. I don't know if anybody cares for it, but I'm self-funding my campaign.
Can we get your contact?
And by the way, other than raising yes, sending in $200, $15, $20, and we have some of that, but it's not a large amount. No, I'm self-funding my campaign. And the reason is that I've been in this business a long time, and I was on the other side until 8 months ago. I was on the other side. I made massive contributions, large contributions to politicians, both Democrats and Republicans. I was liked by everybody, which is an important thing. I will say this. People control
your money
special interests,
not you.
Lobbyists, donors. They make large contributions to politicians, and they have total control over those politicians. I don't want anybody to control me but the people right out there. And I'm going to do the right thing.
Senator Cruz, I want to come to you. The vast majority of Republicans and voters overall agree with Mr. Trump that candidates are beholden to people and groups who donate to their campaigns. Do you deny that those big donors do have influence?
Well, look, absolutely. And one of the things we're so frustrated about is the corruption, what I've called the Washington cartel. It's career politicians in both parties that get in bed with the lobbyists and special interests. And listen, Donald told you for 40 years, he's been sitting at that table using his money to buy influence, supporting liberal Democrats like Hillary Clinton and John Kerry, but also supporting the Republican establishment and funding their effort to crush the Tea Party. And now his argument is, after 4 decades of being part of that influence buying, after Hillary Clinton spending decades being part of that influence selling, that suddenly he will change. But the interesting point is, tonight he hasn't pointed to a single special interest he's willing to take on. He didn't take on Wall Street when he supported the TARP bailout in Wall Street. He won't take on ethanol. And my campaign, by contrast, was funded by 1.1 million contributions all over this country.
I want to go to
$62 at tedcruz.org. That's who you got to be accountable to, the people.
TED was given to PACs. I mean, PACs, you know, these super PACs are a disaster, by the way. It's very corrupt. It's going to lead to lots of disasters. But TED has super PACs, and you have to look at the people that are giving to those super PACs. Number one. It's very important to do that. There is total control of the candidates. I know it better than anybody that probably ever lived. And I will tell you this.
Oh my gosh.
I know the system
doesn't Trump
far
know?
better than anybody else. And I know the system is
we just make a
broken.
religion?
And I'm the one, because I know it so well, because I was on both sides of it. I was on the other side all my life, and I've always made large contributions. And frankly, I know the system better than anybody else, and I'm the only one up here that's going to be able to fix that system, because that system is wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. Senator Rubio, I want to come to you with a question. At the last debate, you mocked Mr. Trump for being flexible. With so much gridlock in Washington, how can you expect to lead the country and get things done if you aren't willing to show flexibility?
Well, I think you can be flexible about ideas. You shouldn't be flexible about your principles. About when it comes to ideas and working with people, I have a record of having done that. Listen, on the issue of higher education, I'm the only one that continually talks about student loan debt because I owed over $100,000 of student loan debt. So I know this is a major issue, and all my ideas that deal with higher education are bipartisan. The VA Accountability Act that I passed, I did it on a bipartisan basis. The sanctions that I imposed on Hezbollah, I did it on a bipartisan basis. The Girls Count Act, that deals with human trafficking, we did that on a bipartisan basis. But I also want to be frank. There are issues we're going to have an election over. When it comes to repealing and replacing Obamacare, that's not going to be bipartisan. When it comes to reducing the tax burdens on Americans, that's not going to be bipartisan. When it comes to shrinking the size of the federal bureaucracy, that's probably not going to be bipartisan. There are issues we can work together on, and we should, but there are fundamental issues about the proper role of government, and on those issues, I will fight anyone who wants to expand government, raise taxes, or weaken our military.
Mr. Trump, I want to give you a chance to respond, but specifically, you talked about flexibility, and one of the examples you gave was the height of the border fence. What are some of the other issues on which you're willing to show flexibility?
It depends on what comes up. You never know. It depends on what comes up. Look, we had a great president, Ronald Reagan. We had Tip O'Neill, speaker. And what do? We take these two men that are very, very different men. They got along, they had relationships, and they got things done, and very beautifully. Nobody's complaining about the deals that Ronald Reagan made, and he made it with Tip O'Neill. We need to have people get together and work good deals out from our standpoint. And I'll tell you this, it can be done. We don't want to continue to watch people signing executive orders, because that was not what the Constitution and the brilliant designers of this incredible document had in mind. We need people that can make deals and can work, because right now in Washington, there's total, absolute gridlock.
Thank you, sir. I want to go to Governor Kasich on this issue of flexibility, sir.
Well, look, my record speaks for itself. What I talk about tonight is not theory. These are things that I've done. I was there when we reformed the Pentagon on a bipartisan basis to give control to the commanders in the field and force the services to work together. I was the chief architect, along with Senator Domenici, of the last time we balanced the budget and the first time since we walked on the moon. I was there when I worked on the welfare reform in Washington, and we got it done, and we eliminated the entitlement on welfare. I then went to Ohio and took Ohio from a basket case, working on a bipartisan basis to reform many things, including the Cleveland Public Schools, working with the Democratic mayor. My problem isn't that people don't know this. They say, well, what does that mean? Does that mean you're too easy? Well, let me tell you, when we did the balanced budget, we cut the capital gains tax. We provided a family tax credit. We shrunk the government. In my state, the state of Ohio has the smallest government in the state of Ohio in 30 years. Conservative principles will work, but show respect to the other side. One final thing, in regard to Social Security, we will not get that done alone. We will have to have some responsible Democrats who will come in to fix the problem of Social Security. I know how to do it because I've done it, and I'll do it again.
Thank you, Governor. We have time for one last break. We'll be right back after this.
All right, you guys. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Did you hear my phone call?
No.
No.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I muted the sounds to take a phone call and then realized I left my microphone on.
Oh, we didn't hear anything at all. How about that picture of...
I think we heard you say, some inappropriate things on the phone. Was that your girlfriend or something?
It was actually my ex-girlfriend. We're still, friends or whatever. It's probably, the only instance that's, ever held true.
Okay. I muted you, Alex, once you started to speak. I muted you.
It sounds about right, yeah.
Okay, so I feel like the last couple minutes of the of the debate.
I'll have to call Alina if she lets me. but my webcam doesn't work, so
You can send your message. We have if you click on the window, you see send message to the person, and this is how you can flirt with other users.
What? What are you doing? What are you doing, girl?
You just sold me.
There it is.
CRUZ is secretly a Republican right now.
Let's come back to the debate, okay?
Okay.
Oh, do we have to?
So yes, please.
All right.
Okay, so the debate so far.
Yes, please lead us, moderators.
So the last talking point from CRUZ and Trump was basically how they're gonna handle the structure of the government once they get into power. I feel like Rubio really showed out today. I liked all his answers. I think all his answers were precise. They answered the question and they weren't Trump-centric, meaning they didn't have any sly things to say about him.
That's kind of one of the things that I take issue with. Although I did prefer Rubio that debate, but all of his answers seemed very prepared by like a team of debate experts or something. I don't think that he can hold his own weight on the stage. Bernie, just for a comparison, goes without notes to debates. He has no talking points. He just goes with it. He does the same thing with his public speeches as well.
You don't get that. You don't get that vibe from CRUZ tonight, though. I get it more from CRUZ and Rubio. Actually, CRUZ to me just seems manufactured from A to B. Every time he talks, it's just like a.
I think you know what, I see a lot. Maybe I would say a lot with Rubio. But the way he starts off is always like, well. Like it's always the same. Like he's aesthetic about himself. That's just like always the same. It's like, well,
it doesn't seem personable. Like I wouldn't want to go up to him and talk to him. I'll just be like, you're just doing too much.
Trump feels much more off the cuff than the other two. They both seem like they've been highly prepped. Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, this is what I do for a living. Like I spot this. This is what I do. Is it, you can peg it, in 1 second when
I would really want them to talk about the encryption situation, but I think because it's Miami and Miami's such a big state, it's going to be more like minority centric city. Sorry. But basically when it comes to the debate, I wanted them to talk more about minorities. I feel like my minority wasn't touched upon.
Well, they talked a little bit about
like,
immigration.
you're talking about police, but then you don't talk about the police brutality that's happening. Like
exactly, it feels like any issue that they talk about, none of them can talk about it in depth.
Never. It's always surface value.
They know the surface level talking points, and then they need to jump to something else.
And that's another thing that I really don't like is just I feel like they touch upon the surface, but they don't really get into. I feel like they say what it's candy to the ear, what sounds it's appealing, but it doesn't you're not answering the question still. It's like, just say what's on your mind. And I just feel like with them being so rehearsed and Rubio and CRUZ, I just feel like it doesn't seem honest. And I feel like that's some people's biggest struggle.
One of the quotes from on our Twitter followers is Trump said, Islam hates us. One racist president. So you think that the statements Trump made about Islam and that basically everybody hates America over there?
He said Islam hates us?
Yeah. He said it earlier in the debate. But let's go ahead and see.
Well, I don't think anyone wants a racist president.
I mean, I would hope so.
You would hope not.
I would hope not. Sorry. You guys, it's been crazy today. Sorry. All right, so let's go ahead and look into what's going on with Kasich.
Interesting, but it's very interesting to my family, my children, and so many supporters that I meet all across the country, and I will continue to run a positive campaign. I can fix the problems in Washington. I've done it before. And in fact, I want to turn power, money, and influence back to you, the American people, so that you can be in the schools and on the streets fighting drugs and dealing with the issues of poverty.
I'm getting desperation from him.
Allow me to take care of the federal issues, then I send the power back and the money and the influence to you. And you can strengthen our neighborhoods and our families. That's where the spirit and strength of America is. But ask the people, my friends in Illinois, and of course, my beloved Buckeyes to consider me on Tuesday, and please let me have your vote. God bless.
Senator Rubio?
Dig it in there.
It is great to be here back at home in Miami. It's hard to believe that just 2 decades ago, my father was just a bartender working in this city. And now his son stands on the stage here as a candidate for the highest office in the land.
No.
My parents never wanted me to go into politics in particular or anything else. They just wanted me to have the opportunity to live out all the dreams they once had for themselves.
Yeah, you're a real
And that was possible because America is a special country. But that was not an accident. America is great because each generation before us did what needed to be done. They solved their problems. They confronted their challenges. They embraced their opportunities. And for over 2 centuries, each generation has left the next better off. Now the moment has arrived for our generation to do our part. And I'm telling you tonight, if you vote for me here in Florida and everywhere across this country on Tuesday, when I'm elected president, this generation will do its part. We will do whatever it takes to ensure that our children inherit from us what we inherited from our parents, the single greatest nation in the history of all of mankind.
Senator Cruz, what an incredible nation we have, that the son of a bartender and the son of a mailman and the son of a dishwasher and a successful businessman can all stand on this stage competing and asking for your support.
The son of a dishwasher.
In just a few months,
the successful business.
one of us is going to stand on the debate stage with Hillary Clinton. And the choice we are making today is who will best defend our values, who will best defend your values and fight for you. I have to tell you, I cannot wait to stand on that stage with Hillary Clinton and say, Madam Secretary, you were asking for a third term.
Nobody mentions Bernie ever.
You were asking for millions more to remain in stagnant jobs, for millions more steel workers to be out of work, for wages to remain low, for young people not to have a future. We can do better. We can instead repeal Obamacare, abolish the IRS, unleash millions of jobs, defend the Bill of Rights, defend the Second Amendment, religious liberty, stand with our cops and our firefighters and our
RUBIO.
And I just find it so surprising. Like, you never hear Bernie's name in any of these Republican debates.
Yes, it's actually the thing. No, he
terrified of him.
Very likely may win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because he's getting a lot of
They keep. Why do they keep saying
They
that?
keep picking at Hillary.
subconscious, because you're hitting the subconscious majority who doesn't really look into the news. They just watch it at surface value. So if they see that Bernie's not being mentioned, then they don't see him as a contestant, and then people won't go out there and vote for him.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense.
These are people that want to see America be great again. These are people that will win us the election and win it easily. These are people that once the election is won, will be able to put Supreme Court justices up that will do a fabulous job. Because let me tell you, if we lose this election, you're going to have 3, 4, or maybe even 5 justices, and this country will never, ever recover. It will take centuries to recover. So I just say,
give me a break. We'll
embrace
survive.
these millions of people that now, for the first time ever, love the Republican Party and unify. Be smart and unify.
And that concludes this 12th Republican presidential debate. We want to thank the candidates, the Republican National Committee, the University of Miami, and of course, each of you for watching. I'm Big Tapper. Our coverage continues right now.
This is in Coral Gables.
This is actually at UN, so yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
Big thanks very much. Good evening again from the University of Miami, where the final Republican debate before a very big Super Tuesday just wrapped up. The candidate.
All right, you guys. So that
traffic is gonna be heavy.
traffic's gonna be crazy, girl. Yeah, it is.
Who won? What do you think?
Won. I think Rubio won in my eyes. I feel like I loved his answers. I loved how he was able to combat everything. I love that he did not mention Trump or throw any slight dabs at him throughout the whole campaign. I think the best thing for him to keep doing is pretending Trump does not exist and just focus on his plan and the other candidates that are up there. I think that will gear Trump to go towards Rubio more, because he's like, why are you not acknowledging me? I'm Trump. You need to be talking about me. Then that's going to change it like that. You have to work with these type of people. That's how they think.
All right. So my opinion, I don't think anyone really won. I think they kind of all, I was really impressed with Trump, like just holding his composure. I think that I don't think anyone won.
And what do you think, Nectar? Okay, what do you think, Elena?
Look at his wife, though.
I think Trump won.
You think? But you're a secret Trump lover. I see in her eyes.
Not true. I disagree with a lot of things he says.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really appreciate his attitude, but he sounded reasonable.
His wife is really pretty there.
In this during these debates.
Mm-hmm.
He gave some ideas about economic situation in the United States and bring manufacturer to the United States. And
yeah, he talked about, he
brought the problem with the taxes in China, which is not really obvious, Carol.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people. I mean,
labor is obvious, but no one thinks about
Listen,
taxes.
why Republicans so easily agree with to terminate NAFTA and Trans-Pacific Partnership? Because they funded oil and gas company who drill here for oil and for gas. They're not transferring jobs overseas. They're not drilling in China. Nobody will allow them.
These companies are becoming...
So, Democrats taking money from those companies who transferring jobs overseas. Republicans don't. So this is the difference. But Trump, for me, okay, so...
Yeah, go ahead. Say who won, Carol. Were you finished, Elena?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I said what I thought about Trump, and he showed one more time that he's a businessman that can
talk his way out of a paper bag.
Knowledge is right, and
okay. Well, thank you so much for that
experience.
Definitely. I think we have two Trump winners here. We have, you say Trump won, Elena says Trump won.
I said no one really won, but I do think that I'm proud of how Trump handled.
What is it? Something in his eyes? Let's listen to you guys. Like, what is going on? Is he charming you guys?
Trump hater. Anyone that says anything positive about Trump doing well, you'll attack them.
It's the hair. You guys love hair, and his hair is just winning you guys over.
Yeah, it looks like that's not a toupee, by the way.
Maybe.
From this angle. Anyways, yeah. So
what about you, Carol? What was the winner in your eyes?
I would say that if consider like the bigger picture, that the purpose of this, okay, not purpose, the goal of, I just highlighted this tweet. CRUZ RUBIO was in case it's somehow to overtake on Trump. Yes.
You think they did a good job doing that?
They did a good job, but I don't feel like it reached the goals. It was reached. Because he also behaved very differently previously. He wasn't bullied today. He was pretty quiet, like he was thinking like the entire debate about something. Say something, don't say. Then he treated say some threats towards CRUZ about super PACs and who controls him. So, but all polls in favor of Trump. So
I think he is going to win the primary.
And goal just to be quiet, to win primaries, and then already reach some agreement, a fight. I
think the last Republican debate really woke them up to the fact that people are watching, and ludicrous and crazy antics are not going to fly. And I think that helped them restructure and had a more cohesive argument during the debates this time. Alex, do you think that rings true with the type of debate that we had tonight coming from the Republican Party?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I said, do you think that sentiment rings true in regards to the Republican debate being more cohesive and coherent?
Than the Dem debate?
No, than the previous Republican debate.
Oh, yes. I mean, this one seemed more civil, God forbid.
So do you think that last debate actually helped them realize that, people are watching and that little things, that these little cute jokes don't fly?
I think they realize that it's starting to get down to the wire, and that if anybody's going to be taken seriously, that it's time to start focusing on the issues. That being said, I feel like all the issues were they just scratched the surface of them. I don't think that any of them have the depth of knowledge to hold the presidency.
So who do you feel in your eyes in regards to this debate came up on top? Like who shined the most?
The winner.
Probably CRUZ, and I know I seem to be flip-flopping all around, but I thought that like Rubio was the most well-spoken. I felt like Donald Trump was ready for a nap. Kasich, I can't even think of his first name. And CRUZ seemed like he came.
It's Johnny. Don't do Johnny like that. It's John.
I know his name. Okay. And CRUZ sounded like he came pretty prepared.
Too prepared. It almost sounded robotic. Like, stop.
Sure. Yeah.
And West. West.
He strikes me as kind of like, oh shit, I think I might have a chance at overtaking Trump. I guess I better like.
Who, Rubio or CRUZ?
CRUZ.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, all confused here. Okay.
That's weird. Isn't that weird? I confused the two. And
no, I think what he was just talking about. You were on some other stuff.
I thought he was talking about.
I thought you just said Trump. Okay. Anyways, Wes, what do you think?
Wes, are you there?
Are you there, Mr. Wes?
Wes.
What? Mr. Wes has left the building.
I think he's just incognito right now because of the Republican Party. I would be too.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
And it's Kayla, right? Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Do you have any